Hello, welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name is Sean Bell. I am joined by James Farley.
Hello.
And Matthew Murray.
Hello!
And blimey. I think we're hoping for a relatively short one on account of the fact that this is the second of 3 podcasts we're putting out this week.
Yeah, please.
Although the other 2, depending on who you are, might not be of any interest. So that's maybe not such a great deal for some of you.
Oh, I'm not entirely happy about this because I've only got one day off this week, like Wednesday. Like the other.
That's true. I'm the only one who's done all right out of this because I got to sack my stream off because we're now recording this on Tuesday night when I should be streaming, whereas you guys are still fully on the hook for doing your streams. And Matt's got edit. Matt, do you want me to edit a show this week?
No, it's all good. I like doing it. I mean, it might be. I mean, we're saying it's a short one, and then people are listening to this and looking at their podcast player and saying, "Well, it's 3.5 hours.
It's 3 hours.
So keep it going. Just keep it going. Come on, let's keep the energy up. Let's keep going. Go on.
So you got to do. We've got to get through it because I've got to edit it and get all the YouTube stuff sorted tonight before it goes out tomorrow morning. Anyway, this doesn't matter to the people listening at home.
Fair enough. Housekeeping. Next week, on Saturday, the 6th of April at 4 p.m, we are doing our live show at
is it next week?
Resd. It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a week on Saturday,
Yeah. Which is terrifying. No, it's not. It'll be fine. It'll be good fun. We're going to be at the show all day, and then we're going to talk about what we've played at the show. James won't be there, which is kind of shit, but Dave will be there, which is pretty good. So that balances itself out pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
After the show, about 6:30, we are going to go to the Minories, which is a pub in London, which is a 60-second walk from Tower Hill Tube Station, and we're going to meet there, and they do food and booze.
They do food and drink.
Just everything you need to survive, basically.
Yeah. This is I might have talked over you, but this is Saturday, 6th of April. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It's like the closest thing I've got to a holiday all year so far. So, which is actually it's just going to be a really tiring day of traipsing around London and then getting home.
They went back in a day. We're both doing that this year. It's going to be a tiring one, but I can't wait. It should be awesome to do the show, to play some games, to meet some listeners. Shame James isn't going to be there, but
have we figured out the dress code, Matt? Are we going branded, or are we just going in our civvies?
Maybe I'll wear the t-shirt this year, and you can just. Actually, no, I think I'll go get a shirt. I don't know.
But yeah, come along to that. You don't need a special ticket or anything. Just a regular Resd one is absolutely fine. Looking forward to that. Every week we stream on Twitch. In fact, if you listen to this, you might have missed. We did one where we talked over the Sony State of Play event on Monday, which was a lot of fun. But generally speaking, we've got James doing Deadly Premonition every Friday at 9 p.m. We've got Matt doing Bloodborne every Sunday at 8:30, and then me will be doing a thing called Played by the Bell, which is a funny joke about my crap surname. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. is me playing a random indie game. Matt, you're done with Resident Evil, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm done, and I really want to start another one. I want to start Alex Kidd with James, but because James is going to be away for like 3 weeks or miss 3 Wednesdays anyway, we're going to just postpone that and wait for James to come back. So, I mean,
I think you're entitled to a break. I think that's okay.
I'm going to really enjoy my Wednesday nights. I've got other things to plan for. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. But, I will also miss streaming twice a week, but we'll wait and do Alex Kidd when James returns.
I'm very much looking forward to having a couple of weeks off from having to stream Deadly Premonition. It's a good thing.
But you're enjoying it more now, aren't you?
I was, and then it depends. Sometimes I'm enjoying it, sometimes not so much. The last week wasn't great. It wasn't, but it's up and down that game. It really is.
I mean, is the amount you enjoy it? Is that in keeping with the amount of alcohol you drink? So you drink more, you like it more, or because obviously this week less drink, you enjoyed it less. The week before you loved it, you're hammered. So.
I think that, there may be a very direct correlation actually between those two. Yeah,
interesting. Okay,
but I'm not doing that again because it was horrible. I had like acid reflux and all sorts of stuff. It was disgusting.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you want to support James's self-destructive behaviour, or if you just like us in general, if you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime. It's the same thing, and it means you can give someone, ideally us, a free monthly sub, which costs you nothing, but it gives us cash. and we really appreciate it. It's a really nice thing that people do for us. You do have to do it every month, unfortunately. So if you think you did it a while ago and you think that's it, and it just recurs, it doesn't. So you have to keep going back and doing it, which is a pain in the arse, but we love you for doing it.
It is a pain in the arse, but also there's also new fancy loyalty badges on Twitch if you've been subbed for... basically, I think, however long you sub, there was like a different badge associated with that. It's nothing massive, but I think they look quite nice. And they worked. I did them a few days ago, and they actually worked in Monday night stream. They looked quite cool. So
yeah. It was it was really weird seeing everyone in the chat, and suddenly those who didn't have badges were like suddenly really upset about it. And
well, you know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. It works. The system works. Right, I think that's it for housekeeping. What have we got for feedback, Matt?
Speaking of housekeeping, Cammy Toman is straight in there. Why invent a new housekeeping segment at the start of the show if we're just going to do it again at the end?
Good question.
I did think that was a bit odd, but I mean,
it's good. It's good as Sean does at the beginning, so people actually listen. And me doing it at the end was just like everyone's like, well, there's a minute left. Might also skip on to the next podcast I'm listening to. So it's good that I don't. But I just thought I'd recap at the end. And also, people generally, it's very easy if you've got a podcast on the background to like miss things. And I forgot, but well, we'll see what happens at the end of this show.
And because this show is such an intellectual powerhouse, I mean, you're mentally exhausted by it.
Exactly,
you might not remember the very start bit. It's all just a bit of a blur.
It's exceptionally draining.
So, it is.
Although I think Alan says Matt desperately wants his voice to be heard more. I mean,
that's one way of putting it. I think he just enjoys talking. I don't think that's it.
But also, if you were in the car with me on a Wednesday morning, you know that's absolutely not the case. And I'm seriously considering sort of flipping the car into the nearest ravine when I mumble my way through like a game description. But speaking of mumbling my way through stuff, TCGS fans at TCGS fans on Twitter. In fact, regarding that Twitter account, they put out a great little thread or tweets in the last week, and we retweeted it today with some more information about the meet. And I think they might be meeting up during the day as well. So yeah, if you want to meet some like-minded fans in your area, go to at TCGS fans on Twitter, and they got some information there about the Res meet. Anyway, my favourite part of this episode, being the last one, is where Matt combines both the sayings "reinvent the wheel" and "rewrite the rule book" to create the phrase "rewrite the wheel." This is great because it really reinvents the rule book. When I was listening to that again, I was like, "You idiot, Matt! Maybe no one caught that."
I completely missed that. I love.
Maybe
stuff
no
like
one caught that. Oh, they did. They caught it.
Super.
But also, yeah, I quite like actually rewrite the wheel. PG Mighty used our contact form on the computergameshow.com and got in touch. Sorry. What exactly was James and Sean's issue with Respawn paying Ninja a cool million for an ad content?
Matt, he said a cool mill here.
Yeah, I'm editing on the fly. Okay, paying Ninja a cool mill for ad content. Did it work for Respawn? Sounds like it. Did it work for Ninja? He'd be stupid for it not to have. Or he'd be stupid for... Yeah, whatever. And if it worked for the dev, it would likely be solid for their employees.
Well, but... Probably
we'll cover that in news.
For the news that we're about to cover. You know?
I could do without Ninja myself, but James and Sean's arguments were incoherent and drowned out Matt asking the exact same question I am. So what is the problem? And I only accept your admittance that you feel the government should tell Respawn how to spend their ad buy. It's called a free market.
What's it?
I love the show. It's my cherry to my commute with TCGS in rotation with all the main ones. James.
I mean, I read this and I thought it's obviously trolling. Like, it's got to be. I mean, you've got all of the the telltale signs there that it is like trying to push certain buttons, and particularly that it's called a free market. I mean, that's quite funny. I mean, we never in any way suggested that we thought the government should regulate like a video games company. Where has that come from as an idea? We just thought it was a bit. I don't know. It's the whole influencers thing, which was, I think. Okay, personally, I still don't feel entirely comfortable with the whole idea of influencers because it's this idea of just like paying people for advertising, but then trying to pretend kind of that it isn't. And I feel there's like a moral sort of grey area there, and it's not
James,
so good.
James, every time we've got like free review code, have you been mentioning that we've got free review code before every time you mention it on the show?
Well, I don't ever get it, Matt, because you're the only one who gets all the free review codes. So
I'm the only one who emails.
Also, well, hang on. There's a difference between getting free review code, which is ultimately a tool you need to do your job, and actually being paid to play and promote.
Yeah, but I think there might be a bit of a grey area there as well. And I do hear some people saying, "Oh, this was supplied by PlayStation." Maybe it's just a Sony thing, actually. But I mean, I do get what you mean. But I mean. I think someone being paid $1 million to stream playing a computer game for a little bit, that is just insane to me.
Well, it's also because he's not being paid there to do criticism, is he? Like, he's not being paid to review it, he's being paid to promote it, which is the big difference between what we're doing, because when we're talking about games, we're not trying to promote them as such. We're talking about whether we think they're good. We're trying to sort of give an opinion.
Sometimes we're quite mean about them.
Yeah, and that does happen sometimes. But it's with this, it's pure propaganda. What's happening here? And
it's propaganda.
Yeah,
is it?
Well, yeah, they're trying to influence people to buy Apex or whatever. Battle passes and stuff.
They're basically like they're leaning on him and his reach and his platforms to get a message out there, and they're paying him for that service, right?
Yeah.
But is it as dark as you make it out to be? I mean, I don't. I mean, I think we definitely covered this last week, but I didn't really hold people like Ninja to the same sort of critical and standards and ethics standards. I would just say a journalist or a games critic or anyone really.
See, I do because influence put across this image that they are your mate.
Yes,
and that is why I find it a bit creepy.
And also, the other thing about it, Matt, is in the UK we have does the Advertising Standards Agency still exist?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, there's rules that are attached to advertising and everything to stop in theory, to stop sort of grey area sort of things from kind of happening.
Yeah, but and we've definitely covered this because in every one of his promotional tweets, it was #ad, and in the description for his Twitch streams, it was it was #ad or #play Apex or whatever. So he did all the legal things he has to do to showcase that he's being paid by a company to endorse a certain product.
I just don't like influencers, Matt. That's all this is down to.
What's fascinating?
We've got to the reason you hate influencers. Okay, we get it.
But also, the thing is, sorry, Sean. I was going to say the thing is though. This is, what he said here about it's up to Respawn. It's completely up to Respawn. They can do whatever they like. I don't care. I'm just saying that personally, I don't like influencers. That's the thing.
I think what freaks me out about influencers, apparently this is particularly a thing on Instagram, is that being paid to promote stuff is seen as a sign of legitimacy now.
Yes,
to the point that people who aren't paid to promote things actually pretend that they have been.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's all kind of messed up. You've got to think what's happening there. It's just.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because we've gone from you can't trust journalists, they all get paid off by the publishers and they don't really say what they really think, to, this guy is no one who is literally pretending to have been paid because that's seen as cool.
What is going on?
It's just so backwards.
Yeah.
And yet, the way I used to write tweets, people were like, Matt, this is an advert. It's like, no, that's just the way I write tweets. I can't even say I'd like to film because they're like, oh, Matt, who paid you to say this?
You ought to have had a little tag at the bottom that says, this is not an advert.
Catch the next thrilling instalment of this incredible film I've just watched, out now on Amazon.com. That's probably what I said. I don't know, I'm just in that advertising mindset. Anyway... Curtis at Luke Cage, H4H. You can get the fast travel radio anywhere before chapter 14. You have to catch the sheriff at his home nearest a scrapyard late in the evening after 9 o'clock to initiate the quest.
I assume this is Deadly Premonition talk, but it's quite fun just reading that completely out of context.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's just life hack.
Ben Syme at Scientology. Silent Hill Shattered Memories was really clever and good. Sean was halfway there. Some of the stuff in the game was generated by the chat with the psychiatrist. The camera stuff staring at his crotch actually pulled from all over. So that was the stuff last week where we were talking about psychiatrist stuff in games and how games are changing based on the stuff you're doing in game. Yeah. And I think someone also I think we also mentioned I mentioned that Until Dawn game and whether that psychiatrist stuff was in that game, and someone said yes it was, so whatever. Cool. Luke Boardman, thanks for letting us be natural. Every time Sean says that at the end of the show, I imagine you're all podcasting in the news. In the nude.
Good. Good.
In the nude.
Keep doing that.
Fuck's sake.
Are you naked, Sean?
No, but I've got some new jogging bottoms this week, and they're basically leggings.
Yes,
and they're the most
them.
comfortable thing I've ever worn. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Are they really tight as well?
They are quite, yeah.
Okay.
For thoughts,
I'm wearing a Player One podcast t-shirt. So, you know.
Anyway, Josh Crow, regarding the possible advent of physical media seeing a significant decrease, I find this to be very annoying. What Matt was saying last week about maintaining a strict system of iTunes, that is very much what I still do. My iTunes is a finely tuned machine, and I get great enjoyment out of buying CDs, games and films, as it adds an element of a personal connection to the artist behind it. Having said that, the physical games I do buy are bought online, because going into a game shop these days is equal parts laughable and depressing. So to that end, I guess I'm as much a sucker for convenience as the next person. Even as I'm writing this, I'm eagerly awaiting the postie to deliver my copy of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice while admiring my CD collection that is sitting at 400 and ever rising. If I'm the very last person digging his heels in and shouting from the abyss in the praise of physical media, then I'll take that and run with it. I mean, still buying CDs. I guess if you're like massively into music, like if you're massively into music, would you buy vinyl? Wouldn't you?
I was going to say, because I could understand like people who like now of like getting into vinyl, because I feel like, you know, in the age of Spotify and what have you, like music feels very disposable. So to sort of try and reconnect with it via like arguably like one of the most awkward physical forms, there's something pleasant about the ritual of it. And like having this object that you have to look after, or else it won't work anymore, rather than just being able to, you know, search for it on Spotify or whatever and then forget about it. But like to me, like CDs now are like this sort of halfway point between the two that doesn't really appeal. Like it's not particularly convenient, and also it's not as nice an object to have.
It's not a vinyl where you hear like the crackling, and it's a nice physical object. And then also there were like lossless music, sources online, like Tidal is one. Like so, it's not even the absolute best quality. So yeah, it is sort of like in the middle. But
I mean, that's me, and I'm not having a go, Josh.
But I wanted to add this. Right? I mean, everyone knows my thoughts about physical media and stuff. But also like these days, like, a game is rubbish to have physically, because it's just literally like a really thin plastic case with a CD in it. Like at least back in the day, there was like instruction manuals and like interesting cartridges or this and the other. These days, it's just literally there's like no instructions on the inside. It's just literally a CD, like a case, a CD in it. It's pretty depressing.
I really miss the olden days of PC games coming in massive boxes for no particular reason.
Huge boxes,
that was also annoying though. Like on your shelf,
it was
when you got all these like weird shaped boxes that none of them like line up or anything at all. For somebody like me that's got like a bit of an OCD about that, it was.
That's
very
true. There was no
irritating.
consistency to them, was there? It was all just
But you did get cool stuff in those boxes sometimes. I mean, there was always like at least a map or something, and it was kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, you still get maps in the Rockstar games, so I'm thankful for that.
True.
But do you, Sean, still get like? Is it still a nice thing to have even that? What game cases are these days, which are pretty soulless rubbish or boxes with nothing inside?
So I don't. I don't really buy games physically anymore, which I think I said this last week. Like maybe I'm the idiot because it means I don't get to trade stuff in. But I don't get any particular joy from having games physically anymore unless it is like a funny collector's edition or something. But I don't have many of them either. So like a steelbook is enough. I think I don't need like a massive box or with a shit toy or whatever. Like a nice steelbook copy of a game is cool.
But I was quite into that stuff as well, and I stopped when Halo 2 came out, because the documentary on the disc basically had a spoiler for and I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing Spielberg.
The Halo 2 one was really funny because they printed more of the special edition than they did the original, like the regular one. So the regular one was actually worth more. Like it's
harder to get hold of, Yeah.
Amazing.
And obviously, like back in the day, like special editions, I know they're still going these days, but they had like the Halo cat helmet, we had like the night vision goggles in Modern Warfare. And I know you can still get ridiculous special editions these days, but
I think there's a bit of a stink around them now, isn't there? Because we've had so many bad ones. Fallout 76, I'm looking at you. But then that's not special editions' fault. That's just we just happen to have had some shit ones. Like I think there's still room for good ones. I think like who is it who do like limited runs of like Switch games. Are they called limited run? I think
the limited run's one, and then yeah.
And they do cool. Like they've got they're releasing a physical version of Hollow Knight that's got a load of nice stuff with it, which I'm sort of tempted.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
that. Yeah, even though I already own the game. So that's sort of cool. But yeah, by and large, not fussed.
Yeah, I mean, what we've lost with like the joy of having, I think the joy of having physical media, we've just gained inconvenience. It doesn't give it a nice warm feeling anymore, but it is like, oh cool, well this game's preloaded and it'll unlock at midnight. So it's convenience over enjoyment, I guess. We talked about Stadia last week. We did a special podcast. If you haven't already heard that, Google Stadia got announced. We did a special one-off. It's out on our podcast feed. One of the features is Stadia state sharing, where you can send a link to someone, a loved one or friend, over a variety of social platforms, and they can then go in and play that game at exactly the same point you were. Inside Coins has a point to make about that. Stadia state sharing. I see it being useful for all sorts of things. Imagine posting a link on Twitter in Dark Souls before the Ornstein and Smo fight, saying, try the fight with this crazy armor and weapon loader and let me know what you think. I mean, I can see that,
like
cool
setting up, like setting up specific challenges and stuff. I was thinking about this, like after we did the show. They sort of give the example of like, oh, if you're stuck at a bit of a game, you can give your friend the link to where you currently are, and then they can pick it up, do the bit, and then give you a link back, and then you crack on. Surely it's more likely that like every game that comes out, there's just going to be like, oh yeah, just go on like an FAQ or something, and here's a big fucking list of links to every bit of the game. Which, do you know what I mean? Because everyone will just be generating links all over the shop, and it'll just be like dead easy to find whatever you want.
But then also does
which is sort of interesting, but like just blows everything wide open.
But they've also mentioned that feature whereby if you just use Google Assistant and say I'm stuck on this part, it will find a relevant YouTube video with that section in the game and then or in the video, and then it'll take you straight. It'll scrub you straight to that part of the video to show you the solution. Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of state sharing, it's a cool idea, but I guess I have to see it in practice to actually make it work. Andrew Gushwind has just that example. I found a perfect use case for state sharing tech. Imagine you're playing a game. Then suddenly there's a QTE where you need to get past a door. Now you either struggle for ages or you pass the state to a mate and he does it for you. I mean, it would be pretty cool if you're streaming. You're like, sod this. Okay, here's a link. Someone jump in.
Someone do it for me.
I mean, I'll be doing it most of the time, I guess.
Every time Mr. X appears, just no.
Yeah. Well, no, he's defeated now. I'm done with him. Then we had a massive load of feedback about ketchup, thanks to James. Benjamin King at Achamius. We'll say Achamius. Usually I'm pro Farley, but ketchup and bolognese is a road I can't go down. Then Joshua Gouty piped up, James, the sweetness you're after. Oh, sorry, this is because James puts ketchup in his bolognese like an animal. James, the sweetness you're after from the tomatoes is in your bolognese. The sweetness you're after from the tomatoes in your bolognese will come from cooking the sauce on a lower heat for roughly an hour. I know ketchup is for reducing the cooking time to 30 minutes, but if you have the extra time, the former is more tasty.
Yep.
I mean, we got so many tweets about this, and I was absolutely loving it.
Wasn't there?
I mean, people were. I mean, Steve Robinson, who the fuck puts ketchup in a bolognese? Anything to come back to that, James?
I don't give a fuck. I mean, the thing is, I mean, you come home from work, there's a very minimal amount of time. You want to just sweeten it a tiny bit for the children or whatever, and then everyone's having a go. I mean, it's to be expected, obviously, because people are always like this, so I don't care. It's fine, I'm going to keep doing it.
I did think it was funny when you said it. I wasn't going to have a go at you about it. But yeah. Joshua Gouty does follow on to say he was trying to be nice.
Yeah. So he said, I want the record to show that I tried to be nice to James, and his torrent of cruelty is only indirectly my fault.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, but people were. I mean, your name was mud on that Twitter account in the week. It wasn't good.
Don't care.
Conor Moss Wilson and Silent Star just said, don't know if you've heard, but you can get fast travel radio anywhere before Chapter 14 in Deadly Premonition.
We already did that, didn't we?
Yeah, but the joke was I was going to keep adding it in to
Oh, I see.
It's okay.
Sorry.
If you want to leave us feedback,
Ruined.
it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
Cool. James, do you remember when we went to EGX and there was that one evening we had the meat and then we went to that barbecue place?
Oh yeah, I do remember
that. Was so good.
It was good, wasn't it? Because
wait a minute.
Yeah?
did I misremember this? No, that is right. No, because we went to that barbecue place. For some reason, I thought we went to 2 restaurants in one night that day and ate like loads of meat.
I mean,
but
we
then
didn't.
Didn't we? No, did we go somewhere in the day?
No, because we went to the bar. We went to the pub after the event, and then we went off to that place that was it was more meat. It was good.
Yeah. It was very good. But no, I just because I got into like barbecue, like proper barbecue for those listening at home, not just like flipping burgers in your back garden. Like it's where it's really interesting because it's like it was a form of cooking that came around because it was people trying to figure out how to make use of like cheaper, like tougher cuts of meat, and they sort of discovered that by cooking it at like a relatively low temperature for a really long time, it dissolves all the collagen in the meat, so that after like 8 hours or whatever, it really sort of falls apart really nicely and tastes amazing. So I am a really nicely marbled bit of brisket. You are a barbecue pit master, and your hot smoke is the news.
Do you want me to turn up the heat, Sean?
Please do.
Oh, don't say that.
It's about 90 degrees.
Okay, here's the news. What?
That's got a bit. Yeah, let's move on. I feel weird.
You broke the flow, Matt. It's again just totally broke the flow. I mean, I did like that one, Sean. That was quite good. You see, every time you start with that, I start smiling because I don't know where you're going to go with it, and it's great. It's honestly one of the highlights of my week. Like this morning, I was sitting at work and I was just thinking, I wonder what he's going to come up with today.
It's great because it's the opposite for me. Because I'm sitting around every Monday or Tuesday thinking, oh, fucking hell, I haven't thought of one yet.
Freaking out now, like writing over the weekend, doing a couple of drafts, practicing it.
Yeah, testing it in front of a live audience.
Yeah, like, hey, so got some new material tonight. I'm not sure if this works.
Yeah.
So anyway, EA have laid off some staff today.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, so they've
That's
laid
an
off...
awkward tonal shift.
This happened just before we started recording, kind of, as this afternoon, wasn't it? This happened. And they've laid off, it's 350 people, which apparently is about 4% of their workforce. And the staff reductions are coming from marketing, publishing, and the operations teams. So, do you want to hear the quote of what they said the reasons for this?
Go on, let's see how they justify this.
Today we took some important steps as a company to address our challenges and prepare for the opportunities ahead. As we look across a changing world around us, it's clear that we must change with it by firing people. Didn't say that. We're making deliberate moves to better deliver on our commitments, refine our organisation, and meet the needs of our shareholders. Sorry, players. Yeah, that's the
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean,
but this is part of business. Like, it just is, isn't it? I mean, like, and apparently, obviously, in light of all the recent layoffs in other companies. Like a bunch of podcasts I listen to have said actually this is actually fairly common if you look back to our previous marches and this time in the Canada, this isn't uncommon for games companies to do this.
Shit though, isn't
it? It's terrible. And like as I've been through redundancy, I was going to say, it's not a nice thing to go through. But
is this then basically like trimming down because it's near the end of the financial year? Is that the
Oh yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Oh, it's gross, isn't it? I mean. How much of this are we pinning on Anthem?
Well, you see,
apparently Anthem's done all right.
Apparently it's done fine,
numbers-wise. Yeah,
according to the thing.
So yeah, maybe we're just hopelessly out of touch on that. But yeah, Jesus, 350 jobs. That is fully shit. I feel like this is almost every week. There's
it's been every week over the last like 3 or 4. Yeah, because people getting this done before the new financial year. It's sad, and obviously wish everyone get onto good jobs elsewhere. But yeah, it feels like a real tough time in the industry. But maybe it's just common every March, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but they're massive. 9,000 members. 9,000 members. No, I didn't know there are 9,000 members of staff worldwide. That is massive.
Yeah, that is a lot of people. But yeah.
I mean, I do wonder if this, how much this is related to like EA just making a lot of bad bets recently on things that didn't maybe pan out as they thought they were going to. But you're probably right. It's probably more about the fact that it's the time of year and it's time to trim the budgets and everything before the end.
Yeah,
not good.
Shite.
Okay, last week we talked about Google's Stadia quite a lot. No, was it last week or was it this week?
Well, we talked about it last week just before
the podcast
conference, then we did a special pod. So yeah.
I was going to say we're doing a podcast every 2 fucking days at the moment, so I don't know where we're up to. What week is it?
Well, either way, I'm not getting into that again because I just don't care. But instead,
Just
we've got...
if you are interested and you haven't already, there's a special one-off like Stadia podcast where we talk about it after their conference last week. So go listen to that.
Yeah, but either way, Phil Spencer is pleased apparently about this. So this is in an internal memo from Xbox. Phil Spencer said that he views Google's announcement as a validation, and he's also promised there's going to be big news at E3. So the reason is for this is he said that today we saw a big tech competitor enter the gaming market and frame the necessary ingredients for success as content, community, and cloud. There was no big surprises in their announcement, but I want to get, he's like talking about how they're going to be competing with Google on those sorts of grounds, and it kind of looks like xCloud is going to be one of the main sort of things at E3 that they're going to be promoting. But what I thought was interesting with that, I mean, he talked about this idea of it being like content, community, and cloud. I mean, from that Google thing, I saw two of those, community and cloud, but content, not
so much.
That was the thing. Yeah, there wasn't really much of that there. And so that was a bit odd. But, what do you think?
But they obviously said that was a big part of it. It's just that they didn't show anything. But they said,
why would you do that? I mean, look, even Apple, who are terrible at gaming stuff, know that when you're going to launch something, you've got to show that you've actually got some partners you're working with. I'm sure Google have. It's just really weird that they just didn't bother, to show to do this. Is
that what? Like, is this what Phil Spencer is sort of subtly saying in that? So watching that Google presentation has sort of confirmed that, this streaming stuff is potentially the future, but everyone was like rolling their eyes because there was no actual games, whereas Microsoft will have games. So
it could be that. I mean, that's the thing with all of this stuff about streaming is it's always about the content, about, whether you've got the stuff to sort of show. It's the same with all the TV streaming services as well. Everybody was trying to lock down rights to all this kind of stuff. And if Google can't do that, I don't see how it's going to be a massive success.
I mean, for me, so obviously content is massive. It's also about who most successfully navigates the technological hurdle, which I am not convinced either of them will be able to do it to a point that satisfies me. But
if not them, who?
Well, yeah, totally.
If not the two,
more than happy
two
for
of the
them
biggest.
to have a go.
I don't think the technical side matters so much because people will put up with crap if it's cheap. They really will. They really won't care. For people like us, maybe it's a bit different. But I think for a lot of other people, they're not really going to be bothered if there's. But
actually, after thinking about the Stadia thing, I think what they announced is going to be good for 95 or 99% of gamers will be fine with that. Obviously, if you're massive into your fighting games and maybe really fast Twitch shooters, maybe that won't be enough. But I mean, I'm not playing competitive fighting games. I'm not really playing competitive shooters. I'll play online, of course. But actually, I think most people will be fine with good enough.
It's exactly what I just said, Matt. You just repeated it.
No. But you said most people except us. But actually, I think most of us will also be good with good enough. Is that not what you're implying? I thought you said, apart from the core gamer, everyone will be good.
Yeah, apart from, there are always going to be people, like you just said, who are into fighting games and stuff like that are going to be bothered by this. But a lot of people, good enough is good enough. It's like they're just going to. You see all those things where people always talk about that with TV as well. How people will buy these massive TVs and stuff, but they don't bother setting them up properly or anything. They
watch
just don't
stuff
care.
in standard def. Yeah,
exactly. It's
So are you saying for core gamers it will or won't be good enough?
It won't be. What do you mean though? I don't know what you're trying to say here.
I think 99% of people it'd be fine, apart from say people in the fighting games. And you implied actually it won't even be good enough for us, but I think actually it will.
Well, I don't know what you mean, Matt.
Shall we move on?
James, do you think these streaming things will be good for gamers?
Majority of people don't care about quality of things, but then there are some people, particularly core gamers, that really do.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think actually most core gamers will be fine with it as well. Do you agree? Yes or no?
I don't know because I've not seen what the service is like yet.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes, please.
Fuck's sake. Anyway, Xbox, he's obviously quite bullish, and it's interesting. We said we have a couple of months to E3, then we go big. That got me hard. So
I was going to say that was the phrasing's a bit weird there, isn't it? Google went big today, and we have a couple of months until E3 when we will go big.
we will go big.
Do you remember when you last went big, boys?
About 15 minutes ago, actually. Yeah, I mean, also it's like internal memo to staff. He knew this would get leaked.
Yeah.
Because if it's internal memo, we're like, oh, those wankers are shit, weren't they?
Yeah.
or not. Anyway, it's exciting. Sometime in June, that's when we're going to see Microsoft go big.
Yeah. Okay. Then the other thing that happened this week was that Nintendo had their Nindy Showcase, and it was a good one, I thought. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. I think what I'll do, should I just do the thing I usually do? I'll just go through some of the
just blast through it.
I thought it was excellent. Actually, it's one of the best ones I've seen in recent memory. Apart from
I wanted most of the games on it.
I mean, it made me like the back third. I was like, okay, almost like thank God this isn't like blowing my mind. But up to now, I was like, okay, that looks amazing. That looks amazing. I thought it was a really fantastic showcase. Anyway, let's go through the games.
Okay, so we got Cuphead coming to Switch. I mean, that was it's been rumoured, hadn't it? Because this is like the Microsoft thing that was was going to come to it. So
it's good. And they even said like thanks to our best pals at Microsoft.
Friends at Microsoft.
That was it. Yeah.
Have you guys played this before?
No. I haven't. I don't know if I will because it sounds like a game that will make me very angry.
Yeah, really hard, etc.
Need that, but I mean, that animation, man, holy shit! Like. It's still like even watching the trailer again now. It's like, oh yeah, nothing else looks like this or will for decades probably. Like it's stunning.
It looks amazing, but I am sort of put off with everyone saying it's so hard. I mean, I'm sure you'll be fine, James, but I don't know.
Maybe I'll have a look. Anyway, then we had Overland, which I thought looked great, but I'm not entirely sure what it was because it was just
wasn't it a bit of a sort of post-apocalyptic, sort of not quite choose your own adventure, but sort of randomly generated, making decisions, survival, etc. Looked pretty good. It looked a lot like Death Road to Canada, which, despite being a big fan of the developer, I never got into. So this is one of the games
they announced the Apple thing, didn't they? As well,
they did.
This is going to be on Apple's premium service. We'll cover that in the news. Yeah, Overland looked great. I thought. I thought the art style. It was also kind of reminded me of. Oh, okay, I don't remember the game. We'll move on. But there's this episodic game. It was made by Summit Cardboard. It took forever to get the episodes out.
Is that Kentucky Route Zero?
Yeah. It sort of reminded me of that art style wise.
Still not finished, that is it? I don't think. I think it's still waiting for the final episode.
Yeah, Overland also looked great.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, that sort of low poly, no texture look.
Yeah, I thought it looked great.
Yeah. Then we had like my friend Pedro again, which looks great. I mean, that still looks like fun. Yeah. And then the thing that I am most excited about, which was Neocab.
Yes, definitely. Another
Neocab
sort of
looked brilliant.
What looks like sort of cyberpunk-ish. Yeah, it looks fantastic. But you're playing like it basically like a sort of a Lyft or Uber driver, and I think you come to this location to see a friend, or maybe a friend come see you or brother, and then they go missing, and then you have to basically run around, drive this cab to make money to basically find where your friend or brother, I can't remember if it's a relation or not, but find that person.
Yeah,
and also the way I've heard it described sort of reminded me a bit, actually, James, of what we played last week, which was the Red Strings Club, in that it shows your emotion, and I think also the emotion of the people that are in your cab. And if you're angry, certain conversation branches aren't available to you, and if you're happy, so on and so forth. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I've obviously loved the Red Strings Club and that sort of cyberpunk sort of aesthetic and vibe, and this looks like another one in that same sort of vein. And I was really excited when I saw this.
I was going to say, if you like the look of this, like definitely check out Subsurface Circular.
Because
it's very similar, except on that you're sitting on a train and it's other robots getting on and getting off and stuff and sort of chatting, and basically sort of conducting an investigation through doing that. But Neocab looks cool as hell. Yeah,
it looks fantastic. And is that another Devolver game? Or
no? Oh yeah, I think it. Oh, is it not?
I don't think so. No. Maybe I'm wrong.
No. But anyway,
my friend
it looks
Pedro was. Yeah.
Then we had the Red Lantern, which again also looked fantastic. I mean, it kind of reminded me of like Firewatch, like sort of visually, but significantly more impressive looking. But again, I didn't really get a lot from that, what this was about either, but it's coming in the summer 2019.
It's about driving a team of sled dogs, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, they never said, but I'm pretty sure the main character is being voiced by Ashley Birch, who has voiced a lot of very good video game characters in the past.
Didn't she do Alex in Half-Life, or... No.
No, that's someone else, I think.
Oh,
No,
okay.
she did. Who did she do? So she did Chloe in Life is Strange.
Oh, okay.
She did Aloy in Thingy, Horizon Zero Dawn, and a bunch of others. Yeah, she's really fucking good. And it definitely sounded like her in the trailer for this. So hoping I'm right about that. But yeah, it was. What was it? It's like a semi-procedurally generated adventure where you're just like driving some sled dogs across the wilderness. And at one bit, they showed you getting attacked by a bear, which definitely looked like all the dogs got killed along with you. So that was weird. It's like, when it's like, oh yeah, because we're trying to just point out that actually just like random stuff happens. It's like, no, that's a game, like instant game over scenario. That's not.
Yeah,
that's not illustrating
like
that. Yeah. So I thought that was strange, but
again, I thought that looked absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Okay, then we had Darkwood.
Scary, not playing it.
Okay. Katana Zero, which was another Devolver game, which I mean, I've talked about that already.
Also, brilliant.
It looks class. I mean,
it's awesome.
For that. Then we had another Double Fine game, which was Rad, which is like kind of that neon art style. Yeah, it looked.
I'm well up for this because it was when they first started showing it. It's like, oh right, it's like top down guy running around hitting monsters with a bat or whatever, and then it turns out as you go through the game, you start getting all these weird mutations that like sort of physically change your character a lot and give you new abilities and stuff. And it looked really interesting. Plus, I mean, I'll just buy anything that Double Fine make, to be honest. But yeah, excited.
Okay, and then we had Creature in the Well, which was it's a kind of pinball like
this
rhythm
looked
game.
Fucking mental.
Yeah, this sort of like Hyperlight Drifter with pinball. Yeah,
it's like pinball, but you're kind of running around and like in the table, and you're holding like a massive bat or a sword or whatever that was all like acting as the flipper. So yeah, looked really really beautiful art style as well. Yeah,
just that looks so good. And the music and the general look of it, I thought it looked really clever.
Yeah, totally.
Then we had Blood Roots, which is seen to be where you sort of get through a level by killing everyone, and then if you die, you try again using you can use all the environment to sort of use tools to kill people more effectively or whatever. But I quite like the look of this. It looked like kind of Miami kind of thing.
I don't remember this at all. Why is this completely? Maybe I went for a wee or something. I don't know.
It looked very violent. I mean, there was a great scene at the end of the trailer where it was just like the character standing there was just like bloody bodies everywhere. It looked pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, it's sort of like top down, top down view. I really like the graphical art style. It's almost sort of paper crafty in a way. I just thought it looked, I thought it looked lovely. Cool. At this point, I was still like, I'm buying every one of these.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we had Pine. Again, not sure what that was. There wasn't really any. I mean, there wasn't really any gameplay details at all about that.
There was a bit, wasn't there? And it just looked. This is probably really unfair, but it looked like a slightly naff sort of Breath of the Wild style thing, where it's a character running around and starting fights with people, and it all looked a bit, just very unfinished. So, yeah, hopefully that'll change a lot.
What Pine reminded me of? It was reminding me of those games that get announced when a console first comes out. And you're like, wow, this is what next generation games are going to look like. And then actually,
you mean like it's like Cameo or something like that.
It's like, hang on, this, what is this? And then actually below the surface, it's not actually that different. I didn't. There's a look of it, mate. It's like I don't know the colors or the style of the art. It's kind of reminding me of like new console / tech demo thing. I was like,
no, I know what you mean. I mean, hopefully it'll turn out we've been really unfair, but I
know
this was
intriguing.
This was the first one where I was like, oh, not everything is going to be brilliant in this direct, then I guess, but whatever.
It looked beautiful, in it looked, it did look nice, but
and it looked different to all the others because at this point it didn't. It looked like a regular home console style game rather than a lot of the games we've seen up to now, which are quite stylized, pixel art, this and the other, which obviously worked to the strengths of the Switch and like indie games as a whole. But I think this looked a little bit different at that point, so I quite enjoyed the different aesthetic.
Yeah.
Okay, then we had Nuclear Throne, which is is this another twin stick shooter?
It is. It's a very good one.
Is it a roguelike by any chance?
It's a roguelike twin stick shooter.
Surprise me.
Pixel art, but it is really good. Wasn't it? Because there was a couple of like Vlambeer announcements, wasn't there? So Nuclear Throne and Super Crate Box. Both coming to Switch. And there's a new Vlambeer thing that's
it's like a Vlambeer arcade.
Yeah,
and
it's like you buy it once
new games
and then they keep adding games
and then,
or something. Yeah. So that sounded really interesting. So yeah.
Then we had
that
Swim Sanity, which was another twin stick shooter but underwater. It's there's a lot of twin stick.
At this point, my interest was starting to wane slightly.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite.
Yeah.
This one, I might wait for review for this one. I wasn't quite blown
I've
away.
forgotten this completely, unfortunately.
Then there was the Stranger Things 3, which is like a kind of a SNES era style game because obviously it's because it's from the TV show. But that's weird because the TV show is like set in the 80s, which is not. This is a bit so like
so
it's
surely
Super
it should
style,
be a NES game. Yeah. Did anyone else think that this looked absolutely rubbish?
Yes. This is what I'm like. It's a no from me.
Yeah, it just looked like a really.
Have you played the
naff
previous one?
Brawler. No, I didn't
there was
know
a previous one,
previous
wasn't
one
there?
to me. I can't remember, man.
I think there is.
No
I'm
idea.
sure people will correct
I
me.
don't think so, Matt. This is a tie-in for the series, isn't it?
I know, but I thought there was a previous Stranger Things game. Maybe they've.
Well, no, there was a VR
There almost
one.
certainly is of some sort.
No. It was the exact same graphical style. Maybe they announced it previously, and I've seen it previously, or there was a previous game.
Yeah, maybe.
I might look it up. But yeah, I was just like, nah, at this point for me.
Yeah, just like loads of like literally identical enemies running around. I don't know. Just look really boring. Hey-ho.
Then we had the Cadence of Hyrule.
I don't know. Before that, there was actually Blaster Master. Now, is that something you were excited for?
I'll come into that, but you ruined my
But
flow.
Hyrule I was last. What sort of order is this?
Matt, I'm the one who dictates the order.
Oh, here we go.
It's
here
like,
we go.
What are you doing? I mean, it's just I've got the order here that I'm going
Power
through.
struggle.
I'm reading the news. Why are you like jumping in again?
Because you were ending with a big thing, and I thought you might have missed a game which I wanted to cover.
No. Okay. Anyway, Blaster Master 02 is available now.
Hey! Apparently, Blaster Master Zero is fucking great. I always, whenever something has like that NES aesthetic, it puts me off quite a lot. I don't know why. I've never had a NES. I've no nostalgia for it. So yeah, I wasn't that keen. But apparently, the last one was really good. So fine.
And then there was the Cadence of Hyrule, which is from the makers of Crypta the Necrodancer, and it's like this is another it's a rhythm-based combat game, isn't it? Is the idea?
Yeah, I've never played Crypta the Necrodancer. It's been on sale, God knows how many times, and I don't know, just from the title alone, I've never really fancied it. But apparently, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool that they've obviously they're working with an indie dev to produce a sort of somewhat offbeat, if you'll forgive the pun, Zelda game.
Yeah.
Fun.
But that was pretty much it. And I thought it was a good showing. I mean,
yeah, man.
It kind of does feel. I was saying before the show that it kind of feels like the indie stuff. It kind of is kind of at home on the Switch now. It's like this is the one I look forward to for like what indie games are coming over any other platform because I know there's more chance I'm going to play them on here.
Yeah, it's just the convenience, isn't it? It's fucking massive. It just makes such a difference, and when it's because obviously indie games tend to be like sort of smaller experiences, especially like your roguelikes and stuff. Turning your PC. I mean, if you're the sort of person who just like leaves your PC on 24/7, which I gather a lot of people do, then I guess that's fine. But to me, like turning the laptop on to play a game is like a faff. So yeah, it's a bit of a no-brainer really with the Switch.
It's just nice, isn't it? I mean, I just like being able to. Like when I played Red Strings Club, it was just nice to like go to bed, just lay in bed playing it. It just feels nice there. It's
yeah, totally.
Okay, and the next thing we've got is this is more Nintendo stuff, and this is allegedly Nintendo are planning 2 new Switch models, and this came from the Wall Street Journal. So apparently, there's going to be a cheaper variant and another with what they're saying are enhanced features. And the cheaper model is going to like emit the vibration, and it seems like this is being positioned as like a 3DS successor, which makes sense. Yeah. And the performance for the other one will be increased because obviously, like since the Switch came out, there's been like bigger advances, so like battery power and all that kind of thing should be better. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd imagine the minimum is going to be like 1080p for the handheld, wouldn't you think?
I'd hope so
for the high performance one.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because we've been sort of going back and forth on this over the last sort of few months. Like, if they did another one, would it be a better one, or would it be one that sort of captures the 3DS market? And look, they're probably just doing both. It's like, of course, why not?
Yeah.
So I think this makes sense. I wonder when we'll see it though.
Do you reckon it'll be an E3 thing?
Could be. That would make sense.
So yeah. I think this is a good thing because hopefully it will mean that the 3DS will finally be put out of its misery. Yeah. It's still there still have been a couple of good games that have come out for 3DS, but it would be nice to feel that they're just focusing on this now and that everything's going to come out on this.
That's true, because when the Switch first got announced, everyone was like, this will be amazing because Nintendo's attention won't be split anymore between handheld and home consoles, and actually it still has been for a while. Yeah. Because the 3DS has carried on being a thing. But yeah, if they finally put that to bed, then this could be really interesting.
I'm thinking... Go on, Matt.
No, I said there's another quote after this Wall Street Journal thing on Eurogamer. They talked to their sources, and there's an interesting sort of line. I mean, again, it's just some sources, but they say they want to basically recapture. They said Nintendo is hoping to cater to the same two audiences it naturally evolved the 3DS to serve both with 2DS and 3DS XL, and apparently that they want to make they want to make it more kid-proof.
Yeah, I think that is
which makes a lot of sense, and also have it cheaper. So 2DS, I saw them, and you had 2DS, didn't you, James, for your kids?
Yeah. Both my kids have got them. Like, Rachel's got like a 2DS, and Asher's got a 2DS XL, like the new one.
Yeah. So I can totally see how the 3DS all split between the what you'd say is like the more of the core game of 3DS XL, the 2DS for the kids. It'd be interesting to see how they do that with the Switch. If it literally is just here's the Switch Kids version, Joy-Cons you can't take out. I'm not sure if there's a Wall Street Journal one where they said there'd be no rumble potentially in the cheaper one.
I mean, kids aside, I'm finding. I mean, I do use my Switch like docked and in handheld mode, but most people I know just don't even use theirs with the TV anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I've covered this, but I did for bits of Zelda, but no. Well, unless it's like a massive game like a Zelda or Mario, where I really want to see it on the TV, I'm totally cool. I mostly play it handheld because I'm mostly playing other games.
It's just less bother, isn't it? Playing it handheld, if you know what I mean. It's like you can just pick it up and switch it on.
That's the key strength for me.
Yeah. You haven't got to like change HDMI channel and all that kind of stuff. It's just, but I think this is smart though, especially like releasing like a better one as well, because there's people like me who are now thinking, I might be interested in the better one if it's got like better screen, that kind of thing, and then I can pass my other Switch down to like Asher or whatever, and then he can have that one, and I'll just get the new one or whatever. That'd be cool.
All the new one needs is Bluetooth audio, and I'm there basically.
Bluetooth audio, a better screen, and longer battery life, and that'd be perfect. That'd be fine.
Cool.
Agreed.
Well, okay. I guess we'll see it in June. Well, I guess we'll see it at E3, but who knows?
Yeah. Okay, and then we've had so many announcements recently. I mean, we also had this Apple Arcade stuff as well, which is, I mean, this was Apple's interminable event on Monday, which was it was the worst thing I've ever seen them do. I think
was that bad?
It was awful, Sean.
I'm not an Apple guy, so I don't tend to watch these, but. Yeah,
I like their stuff, but it has started. Quite a while ago, it was these sorts of like self-congratulatory like events were like were worse. But now they're just getting ridiculous, and like the one on Monday was dreadful. Like just the TV stuff, it was like it just wouldn't stop, and it was just announcement after announcement of just ridiculous stuff that I don't think anyone cares about, and it was just.
Well, it wasn't that. I mean, the services seem fine. It's more the fact that they announced it all. Nothing's come out today apart from like TV Plus. Yeah. Everything else is like many months away. Most of it is like US only for the beginning. It's like fine.
It does. All of it feels like really unfinished. Like they're not really ready yet for any of the stuff. But also what they showed looked not very interesting either. Like from the TV side, but. The gaming stuff, though, I mean, they're launching this Apple Arcade, which is supposed to be coming this autumn. So it's intended to be like a curated collection of games but it's going to be like across the like mobile, desktop, and living room. So it'll work on like all three of the platforms. There's, again, as with everything else at this event, and everybody in general now, it seems, no pricing announced. I mean, Google didn't do that. Apple aren't doing that. Why is that? Is this because they're still trying to figure it out and they're just trying to see
just
who's
waiting
gonna
for
go
the first
first?
person to drop their gun, basically? And
Yeah.
Well, I think it's that, but also it's like this is free market research. You announce it, no price.
Yeah.
You see all the coverage. You see what people say in the comments, and
true.
saying, "Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay this, or we'll pay this." And like, "Oh, I better be a tenner," and then basically gradually people. I mean, everyone has just assumed it's going to be $10 or £10 a month. Everyone's assumed that no one's said anything. So about now they've got months to look through all the comments, all the data, do their own research, and say, "Well, if we do it around this, people are already resigned to the fact it's probably going to be this. If we undercut it by a pound or two, that might excite some people." So yeah, it's free market. It's free like market research, really.
Although Apple's approach is usually they'll listen to all of that, everyone moaning about the price, and then release it for about £15 more than people moaning about. You know, and just like
good point. Just... well, it's worth it. So fuck you. I was so I saw a bit of this. The Apple Arcade announcement, and whether or not like it actually turns out this way long term, there seems to be like a real interest in like really curating it and giving people things that they don't necessarily like. They wouldn't have necessarily asked for, but games that are actually really good and could be like really like like this source of like constant sort of pleasant surprises, basically. If that is how it pans out, that is really cool. I think realistically there aren't going to be enough good games for it to be like that all the time. I think there's going to be a lot of guff in there as well, but I don't know. We'll see.
So also, the games are going to be downloaded, so not streamed, and they made quite a few digs at Google over that, like saying like you can play it anywhere, and it'll always work. And also, we're not going to track any user activity and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it also works with family sharing, which is handy. But I mean, I thought what was interesting with this, compared with the Google one, was the fact that they did have all these publishing partners that we mentioned. So they had like Miss Walker, they got like Sumo Digital. I mean, Platinum Games was there, like on the thing, which is
was it?
Yeah, I've got a bit of Disney, Sega, Konami, Lego.
Konami's weird though, isn't it? I mean, Konami, do they still?
I was going to say, still make games.
Yeah. So that was weird, but I don't know. I mean, again, it all depends on price with this, doesn't it? But we all know that it's not going to be anything cheaper than probably a tenner a month. And if that's the case, then I'm out.
Isn't the more troubling thing the fact that they've said that devs will get paid based on length of time people play?
Oh, really?
I didn't hear that.
Unless that's just a rumour, I'm fairly sure it's the case.
That would be crazy. I can't imagine them doing that.
What a shame if that's the case, because that then really skews like the type of game people are going to make for it.
Yeah. People will just make really long games with gacha mechanics.
Yeah.
To make sure people keep playing for like ages.
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Plus, that can't be right, because surely like that could just result in Apple losing money as well, because you're not paying any more depending on how long you play something.
Yeah.
So
that's really odd.
Unless it's like
I'm
a percentage cut.
That's what I believe to be the case, but I'll check.
Okay. But yeah,
so
so they showed Sumogo's new game, Sayonara Wild Hearts, which was initially announced for the Switch, but apparently it's coming to Apple Arcade as well. And to be fair, that will look fucking amazing on a Retina display, which you're not going to get on the Switch. But
yeah, a lot of these games, it was all like, they're also coming to Switch and other platforms as well. So, I mean, I'm sure there'll be some good exclusives there that are worth looking at. But again, as the same as with Google, I don't really trust Apple to be able to do this well, really. Because, I don't think they really
I mean, looking at the stable they're putting together, it does look like they've hired someone who knows what they're doing. But then I know what you mean, like, I think we've said in previous weeks, like you look at the App Store and stuff, and it's like, "Hey, have you played Tiny Wings?" It's like, okay, really helpful. But
you've got like, I mean, last week we had the Sundar Pichai from like Google saying like, I don't care about games, not interested, basically, but I'm doing this. And then you got the woman they had for this thing at Apple, like just saying like, this is this is something for the kid in all of us and everything, and you're just like, oh, that's a horrible line. That demonstrates to me that you don't understand games.
Yeah.
It's just...
Okay, in terms of the revenue model, so it's just a report from Bloomberg, but basically it says here, for the long-term health of the service and its developers, it's how revenue will be split with the game creators. A report from Bloomberg suggested that Apple will be dispersing revenue from its subscription fee based on the playtime of individual titles. If a game has more hours played, so the theory goes, you'll be paid more for your efforts.
Okay, so you just get a larger cut of the subscription fee rather than.
But it's not confirmed that that's just like a rumor from a report from Bloomberg. But
okay,
yeah,
that's still weird.
It is weird, but yeah, we'll see.
So shut down the discussion. Yeah, right. What else we got, James?
Okay, so then we also had the state of play thing. I mean, we talked over this on Monday, but there was a lot of good stuff. I thought there. If you like VR, they had like
if you've got PSVR, you're absolutely sorted. If not, Mortal Kombat's coming out.
Crash Team Racing, which I have been reliably told is better than Mario Kart by people online. So so there you go. It's. So
if you want to listen to more, we put out a live reaction like Twitch stream. It's on a YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com/Computer Game Show. It's also available as a podcast. But forget that. The big thing, and I was still thinking about this last night when I was going to bed. No Man's Sky VR.
Yeah,
I'm so excited about that. I was like, I was just lying in bed thinking that. It's what we wanted, and the redemption arc for Hello Games, is crazy. What they went through when it came out. They put out tons of free updates. They've fixed the game, improved the game, and now they're putting out this thing that people have wanted from day one. It's amazing, really. I mean, God knows what it's going to be like, but I can't wait to explore
it looks
that sort of
a really solid implementation of VR as well. Like if they just going it's VR, but you still just use a controller. That would have probably been enough, but the fact that obviously it uses the Move controllers and you've got your hands and you're doing stuff in the cockpit and it might be really unwieldy to play, but it should be cool.
Yeah, it's not a separate mode. It is basically everything you do in No Man's Sky and all the updates beyond and stuff. And but they're only this is basically only the second of the. There's still more updates coming for this big summer release. So. I cannot wait to try that.
So there's actual new game stuff coming as well. Yeah, so that's
I mean, I've had it installed for a while, but I genuinely cannot wait. I'm genuinely so fucking excited to try No Man's Sky in VR. I hope it lives up to what I've got in my head.
Yeah, I'll be fully on board to get back into that because it was I mean, I kind of enjoyed it, but I always wanted the VR mode because I just thought it'd be amazing. I just want to scoot around in the sky in my ship. It'd be great.
Yeah, see, as someone who already enjoyed it quite a lot, it never really occurred to me. Even though, I was saying on the stream, that I know Elite Dangerous, the PC version, has had VR support for ages, which looks incredible. But that game, although obviously brilliant, I found much more of a slog to play, certainly in the early stages. And also, I don't think the PlayStation version supports VR. So this is a much more accessible take on that for me.
That makes me really sort of want to get into it before the launch of that VR patch, so maybe I can get to grips with it, maybe build a base or whatever. Because I haven't played since all the multiplayer stuff launched either. So I know it hasn't launched yet properly. There is a kind of multiplayer mode, but the proper stuff launches in the summer. Yeah, but either way, I haven't played it since a couple of big updates ago. But I'm excited to get back into it for sure. VR, yes.
Okay, and then the only other piece of news I've got here is something that was. I mean, this happened last week, but I don't know why I completely blanked and totally forgot it. But Matt reminded me again this week. Why?
Well, because what happened? So obviously we've been over this, and I've stopped adding stuff into news. But what I would do is you would send the link, all the links, and I would then go through Eurogame and other big websites and pick things up. But I've stopped doing that, and so I think that's why we missed it. So it's probably on me.
No, it's just hang on. So Matt, you double check my work.
What?
And the one time you didn't do it, James, you missed something.
Well, because it's just this for some reason it just fell through. But it's the only time that has kind of happened. But I mean, it depends on whether it's worth covering or not anyway, because it's been resolved. But I put it in here. This is ridiculous, Matt. I didn't know you were doing this. You're just going through all my stuff as well.
Well, I don't anymore. But when you said here's some links, I would say, and you're like, is that cool? Here's the links. I would then scan the other things. If there's any major that we've missed, and often you have missed something major.
The problem I had with this wasn't the thing about this was I show you what I'm thinking of putting in the news. So then I say to you, is there anything you else want me to add? Then you just say, you add whatever. Not just add it in while we're talking or whatever, on the show, or later, and then remind me about it. That's the thing. You could say me before the show. You tell me what's happening.
Yeah, but you would say here's the links, and I would then go through all the various sites. It doesn't matter. Let's go on this news that you forgot last week because I didn't remind you.
Anyway, Judgment. Okay, so there's this whole thing with Judgment. which is the Team Yakuza game, which is coming out, and it turned out that one of the actors, it's like Pierre Taki, was arrested for doing cocaine in Japan, and so Sega like pulled the game and stopped promoting it and the whole thing, because there's the whole thing in Japan where the drug use is taken significantly more seriously than it is here, and there was a bit of a concern about whether it was going to even see release, especially like in the West, even though all the localization and everything has apparently been done. But apparently it is. There's not going to be any delay. The Western version is going to come out, and they're just going to recast the actor. So there is a kind of a happy ending, I guess.
Is that because this is a long-standing character, right? This isn't like someone new.
How do you mean?
Isn't it someone that isn't it the character's been in the Yakuza games as well, or is that?
I don't think so. No, because this is not connected.
Fair enough. No, I was under the impression that it's a character that's been around for a while and that people were attached to, and therefore changing the actor and the appearance might be a bit of an upset. But fine.
Yeah, it's
weird. I don't really get. I mean, I'm boring as fuck. I've never done a drug in my life. I don't even drink. The reaction to a guy using and possessing a bit of cocaine. I mean, I just assumed that was most actors, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the culture over there is so massively different, isn't it?
But it's it's just interesting that it's such a different approach to this sort of thing. I mean, does it even work? Like being so surely people are miserable and will find ways to do these things anyway, right? But
you're supposed to just not reveal that you're doing it.
Okay,
because otherwise the shame it will bring. It's
strange.
But that's it. I mean, that's the end of the news.
Is that the end of the news?
It is the end of the news, Matt. What have you got? Go on.
Well, I just find it quite funny that there's there's a bit of news that you failed to mention. I think because of your own agenda.
What is it this time? Go on.
Well, for the last 4 weeks, you've been slagging off Anthem. On the 25th of Feb, Anthem sells half of Andromeda's. 4th of March, Anthem bricking consoles. 11th of March, Anthem crashes. 18th of March, Anthem loot doesn't matter. This week, there was the news that Anthem was the best-selling game in February 2019. It's now the second best-selling game of 2019, and it represents the second highest launch of month sales ever recorded for a BioWare-developed game. Training only, Mass Effect 3. It was the top-selling game on both Xbox and PlayStation in the US in February, but somehow that was absent from your news story. So,
well, it was absent from the news story, Matt, because we already covered that in the EA layoffs bit.
No. If you think covered means it did okay, I mean,
we don't need to read EA's press release. We can just basically say it's done. It seems to have done okay. We don't need to promote the game.
Well, no, clearly, because the last 4 weeks you've been ripping the hell out of it, ripping it into millions of pieces. Once there's some positive news, suddenly it's not on the news agenda for the week.
Just to be fair, it's not promotion to be it sold really well. I have no idea why. Yeah. What is wrong with everyone?
I just thought it was funny that James rips into it every single week. As soon as there's a vaguely positive story, it's not on the news list anymore. And are
they including people who played it on Origin and stuff? Oh, sorry, on game. What's it called? EA Access or whatever.
It says best selling, so I assume not.
Okay. Okay.
But fine. I was super surprised when I saw that in tweets. I was like, wow, okay, so it has done ridiculously well. I mean, maybe February is just a bit of a poor month.
I still am finding that hard to believe, though, that it's done ridiculously well.
So you don't believe the official NPD numbers? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, as in, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
he chose not to read it out on the news because he wants to verify the facts himself first. Man.
Yeah. I need to, because how many people do you hear going on about Anthem at the moment?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't stop. It might have sold big numbers. I mean, but
yeah, but usually if something's sold big numbers, there's a bit of a buzz around it, isn't there? I mean, look at like for example, Apex Legends is doing really well, and people are chatting about that in a big way. Never hear anything about Anthem at all.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it didn't sell. It clearly has sold.
Yeah, great,
covered. There you go. Fucking hell, James. So much bias. There's bias in this shitty news session.
Right. What have we been playing?
That?
What?
No, it's just like, fuck off, Matt.
Okay, fine. Right, what have we been playing? In order to just smooth things over, I'll do mine first. So I haven't finished it yet, but I've played a fair bit of the Red Strings Club, which you guys both finished last week. It's really good, isn't it?
It's great.
I haven't got a huge amount to add. On to what you said. I am like quite surprised. Even after you'd said, I'm quite surprised at how lazy the controls are in the port.
Oh God!
Because
fiddly.
Just the fact that any sort of point and click adventure that's been ported from PC to get a platform where you have to use a controller, there's almost always an option to just skip between the bits you can click on, just tap the shoulder buttons or whatever, and it just moves around the screen to the stuff you can interact with. None of that, as far as I can tell. You have to just move the cursor around with the stick, which is a bit unwieldy. The bits, especially when you're mixing drinks with people, and I'm just fucking pouring absinthe all over the floor and stuff.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So that's weird. But yeah, really enjoying the story, the music. It's really nice when there's a cyberpunk game where it isn't just all synthwave in the soundtrack. The piano bit that it opens with is really nice. And there's just loads of other stuff going on.
During the bits where you use that pottery wheel type thing and you can change the music, how often did you change the music?
Never.
Oh, I went through a few of those tracks.
I probably should have.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, I should have. To be honest, I'm doing the game a disservice because I've not played with headphones or had it on the TV yet. So I need to change that, I think, because I think it's a nice one to get immersed in. Which I've not really been doing yet. So yeah, I'm keen to get that finished. How long did it take you guys? Only 3-4 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3, I guess.
Yeah.
It wasn't that terribly long.
I must be quite near the end then. But yeah, okay.
If it took 3 for me, it's probably 45 minutes for James. So somewhere in the
middle. So yeah, really enjoying that. Looking forward to finishing it. Speaking of finishing things, as promised, I finished episode 2 of Life is Strange 2.
Yes, we did it. We did it.
Obviously I won't go into too much detail because we'll do a full spoiler cast on it, but man, I can't believe more people aren't talking about Life is Strange 2 because the first one made such an impact, and I think this is basically better in every way than the first Life is Strange.
You think the second series is better than the first series, or the episodes?
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry,
cool.
yeah. My only criticism, and this isn't really fair because it's definitely intentional, is that series 2, I am really anxious and sad most of the time playing it. To me, I don't know if you guys get this. There's just this constant fucking tension or this worry that something's just going to go wrong at any second.
Yeah, it's the whole child and peril thing. I think. I mean, the first episode was incredibly tense, but the whole situation is incredibly tense because of what's happened. So you're constantly sort of looking over your shoulder or just wondering what could happen next. It's not. And even the quiet and what look like relaxing moments, I'm still anything can happen at any second.
Yeah, exactly.
This is obviously
because you're this is only episode 2, so obviously this is going to go wrong. This isn't going to last forever. It's a horrible feeling, but again, I think it's very much intended. So you guys weren't too hot on episode 2, right?
I thought it was good. I mean, I certainly enjoyed parts of it. I didn't think it was quite as good as the first episode, but still really good. Mm-hmm. I think part of the reason why there's not maybe the buzz around this that there probably should be is just the release schedule is insane.
It's very spread out, isn't it?
Yeah. It means that I think it loses a lot of sort of buzz, really, because I think people have probably even forgotten it exists.
Yeah, there's no real momentum, and we've had people sending us in tweets saying I've already forgotten what happened in episode 2. And when's 3 out? And I know they've announced the date, but it's another month off.
So episode 3 is out 9th of May.
Right.
I mean, and then episode 4 is now out until 22nd of August, and after that it's 3rd of December.
Jesus. Yeah, I think so I think come December, I reckon there'll be another push for it because obviously, we'll have played. People like us who have actually played it throughout, obviously, will then be able to say, more definitively, this is really fucking great. You should have played it all this time. But yeah, I think when the full season's out, that could be another push for it. But yeah, I'm just surprised it's not had the same traction as the first one.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
far.
like 3.5 months between each episode is a lot. I mean, it's nice now we've got a calendar, so we know, we know when they're coming out. It's not like, well, when's the next episode out? We don't know. We know now, but 3.5 months is a long time because, I mean, I played this in the first week it came out, episode 2, and then I'm looking forward to doing a spoiler cast, and I've got hundreds of pages, hundreds of like words of notes, but I'm still gonna have to find some sort of recap on YouTube just because it's
I don't remember
long.
any of it.
3.5 months between episodes is a lot. It's a big old gap.
I can only remember, things that happen at the end that, I don't want to allude to even.
So
overall, Jesus Christ.
Overall, Sean, you thought this was, I mean, I assume not as good as episode 1, but still very, very excellent or very good? Or?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Properly enjoyed it. Felt fucking terrible at various points, and then even more so when I saw all the potential decisions at the end. Honestly, looked at that results screen and was like, I've got to go back. I've got to do this again. This is fucked. But despite being so sure throughout that I was doing the right thing as well. So, I mean, whether that's just the game being interesting or being willfully manipulative, I don't know.
I think it's probably, I mean, a bit of the latter. It has to create some drama around it.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to be nice and then the game reacted as you being nice, then there'll be very little drama. But
true. If it's you made all the right decisions, so nothing bad happens.
It was a fine little story.
That's not an interesting.
But the end it's a big one. The end.
Yes, it is.
I can't wait to discuss it.
Yeah,
hopefully,
totally.
the spoiler cast for episode 2 will be out on Friday. That's the current plan.
Cool.
So, hopefully this Friday there will be another Life is Strange 2 spoiler cast for you to listen to.
Yeah. The other game I've played, so for my stream last week, I was going to play Hypnospace Outlaw because everyone's going on about it and it sounds really funny, and I'm not even sure what type of game it is because it appears to just basically involve browsing a fake internet where just loads of funny shit happens. But for whatever reason, so I was setting everything up 20 minutes before I was due to start the stream, and for whatever reason it wouldn't capture the game. I just did window capture like normal and it just wasn't having it. So I had to very quickly pick something else, and I recently grabbed Mutant Year Zero, and it's in this month's Humble Monthly thing, which I recently signed up for.
How much is that per month, by the way?
So it's £12 or something.
Oof, okay.
But I was looking at it. I was to be fair, looking at the last 12 months, it was every month there was a game there that I would have paid more than that for. Plus you get, there's an archive of loads of other stuff as well that you can just grab at any time. So yeah, I've decided to give it a go. I'm paying month per month. If you sign up for a full year, then it's less or whatever, but
okay.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, Mutant Year Zero is a turn-based strategy game. It's very XCOM. If you've played an XCOM game, but it's set in. So I didn't realize it's a tabletop role-playing setting. But yeah, post-apocalypse, and there's this place called the Ark, which is the last haven of humanity. And there are these people called stalkers who are mutants and stuff. Who sort of help the Ark and go out, do excursions, grabbing materials, stuff like that. And also there are bad guys called ghouls who are all lurking around, and they're sort of not quite zombies, but just sort of, I don't know, sort of fucked humans, I guess. All pretty standard stuff. What I do like about the setting is that they talk about humanity as was. Before everything went to shit, and I forget, I think they call them the ancestors or something, but there's absolutely zero reverence. It's no, they're the humans who fucked everything up, they're idiots. They're they're sort of, they're looking at a crashed helicopter and it's oh, the fuck is this? Some stupid piece of shit that humans built, what a bunch of morons. And I quite like that because normally with post-apocalypse stuff it's always the forerunners or whatever who had this amazing society that came down for no particular reason. It's no, they fucked it themselves. They ended the world because they were arrogant or whatever. As a game, it is fucking fascinating. I really like it. So XCOM 2 has this interesting mechanic where every time you start a mission, the enemy doesn't know you're there, so it's all about getting all your team in the best position possible, so that once you do open fire, you're in like you're all set up to like set up like a kill box or whatever where you think all the enemies are going to be, and that you're in like an advantageous position. This does that, but in XCOM, like at the start, so yeah, you do this at the start of a mission, you fire a shot, and then that's it. You're into combat. Enemies know where you are, and like that's pretty much it. Whereas this is all about like in moving through an area, you'll be jumping in and out of combat like constantly. So you might see like might be like a concentration of enemies in one particular area, like a little base or whatever. But then there'll be people like patrolling around outside of it. So you have like direct control over your team before it goes to like the turn-based stuff. So it's all about getting your team in position, like, right, so there's one guy patrolling this bit here, he's got this much health, so it's going to take like 2 or 3 characters to all shoot him simultaneously to take him out silently without alerting anyone else. So, right, I need to position this guy here, and this guy here. And then you go into combat, kill the guy, and then you come out of combat again. Rather than just like, oh, well, you've fired a shot now, so that's it for the rest of the mission. And it's this constant dipping in and out, which is really interesting because you're like, right, okay, taking him out, right, who else is patrolling who I think I can do without getting spotted? And similarly, like you can put like a unit in position or like in a certain position, start combat, have like 2 other guys start attacking and doing stuff. But until you activate that 3rd unit, they're much harder for the enemy to detect. So you can essentially like try and position one of your characters like in one spot and then try and like lure the enemy out, and like so that guy who's still hidden is like in a really good position to start shooting people. It's just, yeah, really good fun. The writing's actually pretty good. The voice acting's pretty good. It looks nice, although it's all nighttime, which always bothers me a bit.
It's still got a really nice look, though. I thought, particularly like the way the characters like navigate around the environment. I even like if you're going between sort of locations, and it's not tilt shift, but there's like a nice. I don't know.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like
there's a nice look to it. Particularly like things like crash like you're obviously like a bunch of animals with like crash helicopters and like human bits of machinery and technology and stuff crashing in the landscape. But I think it's like a really nice look.
Yeah. And yeah, like the characters you have are brilliant. So there's Bormin, who is a pig, Dux, who is a duck, and then I think her name's Selma, who's just like a sort of appears human but also has like mutations and stuff. Mutations are like your special abilities that you get as you go through the game as well. So like Bormin gets an ability where he can like just charge enemies and knock them down. Dux gets the ability to fly at some point. And yeah, you get all these like weird items they can use. So there's like armor and stuff, but then there'll be like a top hat and a fucking those like little visors that people only wear when they're dealing poker for some reason. And they actually appear on the character when you equip them, and they look really cool and weird. I'm finding it really fascinating. It's been a while since I've got into a turn-based strategy game, and I always forget how much I enjoy them, and this has like properly got me into them again.
Are you finding it quite difficult? I've heard can be quite tough.
It is, yeah, it's really fucking hard. Like it's so tempting to. So when you're going through the process, I was saying how like you're sort of trying to pick off enemies before you like really sort of engage in like open combat. Sometimes you can be like, well, I've taken like 2 guys out and there's more people patrolling, but I'm pretty sure I can handle it and it'll be fine. It's never fine. Like you have to take out as many people by stealth as you can as possible, basically. So yeah, often when you die, it's just because of that, like that arrogance and being like, well, I'm sure this will be okay. It's like, no, you have to just be like super cautious at all times. But yeah, like, so it is hard, but it's not like too much of a dick about it. It's really easy to just like load a previous save whenever. So yeah, really fucking enjoying it. I'm pretty sure this is on Game Pass, by the way.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it came over around Christmas time. It's like this and Ashen and a bunch of other really good games. I've got downloaded, but never played it.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It is a very slow game. I was sort of, as glad as I was that I was finally playing it, I was a bit like, I don't know if I should have streamed this because it is a lot of me.
You said that you texted after the stream, but it was really, it was a really good stream. Everyone in the chat was loving it, and it was just. I mean, I obviously I love the Banner Saga series, and I guess maybe I have like a bit more of affinity for that style of game anyway. Mm-hmm. But it was just good seeing us sort of all you and the viewers sort of both learning at the same time about the systems.
Sort of figuring out as we went, I guess.
So don't it may have been slow, but I mean everyone was totally cool with it. And There's there's plenty of conversations happening in chat. Don't worry about it. So you think you're going to carry on with it then? Yeah, do you?
I already have put another good sort of 3 or 4 hours into it after streaming it. Apparently, it's not very long, but I mean, free time being what it is these days, I'm quite happy with that. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for me this week. James, do you want to do yours?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone back to Wargroove. I've been playing that a bit because it had an update, and now you can sort of like adjust difficulty a bit, and they've added checkpoints, so it's made it a bit much more sort of enjoyable, really. The strategy side of things is still quite good. It's just the aesthetic I'm not really that keen on, and like the story stuff is not great at all. but the strategy is still good. I still think it's kind of worth playing. But the main thing I played this week is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I really loved Dark Souls a lot, but I never really felt after I'd finished that I never at any point really felt like I wanted to play another like From Software game, to be honest.
That's fair.
Because it was so good, and it was also a real like slog to get through, but in the nicest possible way, if you know what I mean. And I always just felt I don't feel like I'm ready for like the time and the anger that there's going to be to put into this.
Yeah.
So I got Dark Souls 2. I kind of started it, but didn't. I've not sort of persisted with it, and I don't know. I felt I admire them a lot, but I just felt like I'm not sure if I can get involved in one again. Yeah. So I had little to no interest really in playing this because I just thought it looks great, but it's going to be really hard, and I just don't know if I want to get sucked in, to like that again.
Yeah.
But then on Friday, I had a day off, and people were raving about it and going mad about how it was, amazing and everything. And I did get sucked in. So I traded. It was 2 Switch games for it, and I got it for nothing because Switch games still hold their value like in a big way. I even got credit from that. I was quite pleased, and so far I'm not regretting it at all because I am absolutely loving it. It's cool. And I'm getting exactly the same feeling from it that I did with Dark Souls, which is that sort of getting through difficult bits by the skin of my teeth, but then not really feeling that I deserve to make it. Did you ever get that with Dark Souls as well?
Yeah, absolutely. There are like bosses where I'm like, I'm glad I've done it, but I did totally fluke that.
Yeah,
or like
I can't believe I got away with that. It's
found like a position to stand in where actually they couldn't hit me, and then it was just or whatever. Yeah.
So it's I'm getting that kind of feeling as well. But then also you get that point where you sort of feel like you've got I began to feel like over the weekend because I played it quite a lot. I began to feel like I got things sorted, and I was like taking out lots of enemies without getting hit, and you start to feel like really awesome about it. But then you have a bad run, and then you feel like you're terrible at the game again. And it's that same thing that you get that I had with Dark Souls, where it's like you can have a bad run because you get like. You hit somebody, you don't deflect or something like that, and then it all just goes to shit, and it's really, and because there are so many enemies sometimes coming at you, it's really easy for that to happen. But the really good thing about that is the speed with which you can move about like the areas, and also like how like the verticality as well, because you can use your hook shot to like escape often, which is quite useful, unless people have got like guns or like arrows or whatever. But I mean, the main thing is the combat is quite different to Dark Souls in that there's no stamina with this at all.
Yeah.
Oh, is there not?
It's all about no,
okay.
And it's all about posture instead. So. And this is the weird thing because like with Dark Souls, one of the main things you guard against enemies or whatever, but then you try and find a break so that you can just sort of rest so you can regain your stamina again. And this kind of maybe I'm wrong about this, but this seems to work in kind of the opposite way, which is that if you're guarding and you like drop your guard, you're more quickly you lose your posture, which is odd. So it's like you have to guard like sometimes, and also you can like when you sort of try and deflect, you really have to like have the timing down perfectly. And this is the other thing which I'm finding a bit difficult about the game because I hardly did any parrying at all when I played Dark Souls. I hated it.
It was the best thing ever. It's just parrying's the best. Isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't enjoy it very much, and that's why, like, when I did the final boss, it took me quite a few attempts because it was like I was suddenly having to learn parrying right at the end of the game again, to deal with that. And is that spoilers? I can't remember.
No, don't worry
okay,
about it.
fine.
There is the final boss in Dark Souls.
There is, yeah. So the whole point of the combat with this is that you're trying to break the posture of the enemy, and once their posture gauge has been filled, then you can do like a death blow to the person. So if you're like fighting just like regular sort of soldiers, you can do that quite easily. Like you can catch them off balance, just by attacking them really, and then you can just like shove your sword in their face or whatever. But when it comes to bosses, this becomes more difficult because you can break their posture, but it's quite difficult. And so in the end, I've often ended up just trying to wear their health bar down. It's because if you break the posture, then you can do like a death move, which will like take off like significant amounts of health. But it's just quite difficult to do. And I mean, you also have like the prosthetic arm as well with this, which, as I said, you can use this to like escape from combat, or also you can add like attachments to it. Like one of the ones I got the other day was like firecrackers, so that you can like throw those and then it like stuns the enemy and things like that.
So how does the prosthetic arm allow you to escape from combat?
Well, because you can like look up at like a tree or whatever like that, and then just like hook shot up to the up into the branches.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So if you're fighting like a boss or whatever, that works quite well. Although all that, the only benefit you get from that is you can just have a breather for a second. Like if you're in the middle of something, or heal or something like that. Whereas if you're fighting like a big groups of enemies, it's not so useful because especially they'll start chucking stuff at you, or they'll like fire arrows at you or whatever like that. But when you're in boss fights, it can be quite useful, I found, to be able to do that. Just to sort of escape for a few seconds. But also, you can pause this as well, which you couldn't do with Dark Souls, which is quite handy, because then you can, like, redo your inventory or whatever if you need to, which is okay. And, I mean, the main thing I found is, stealth is also significantly more important in this. I mean, I found that when you go into like areas where there are like sort of mini bosses or like boss characters, there's often a lot of other enemies in there as well, and you have to like... It's like a puzzle, really, of like trying to eliminate all of those so they're all out of the way, so then you can fight the boss without getting interfered with. Because it's really annoying. I mean, I had in the beginning, like, there's one of the. I just said in the beginning. I can't believe it.
You say it every week, to be fair.
Yeah, but not this time consciously. I said it, which is not so good.
In the beginning.
But anyway, in the beginning. Yeah, this happened like quite a few times where it's like, you engage like a boss and then suddenly you think it's going quite well and then you get stabbed by somebody in the back that you didn't know was around. So it's like, it's really good when you go into an area to like scout it really and to sort of, go around and try and sort of get a lay of like where everybody is and try and figure out like a good sort of a path to sort of get rid of everybody silently as possible. And so then you've got an easier run at the boss. And I mean, aside from like parrying, you've also got these sort of unblockable attacks as well that you can either dodge or you can deflect. Once you've sort of upgraded your skills a bit, and they're also quite annoying. And I had this thing. One of the bosses, they often like they grab you and like throw you off buildings and stuff like that, and that's super really really irritating and not so good. And I mean, Before we started to record, I was stuck on 2 bosses that I couldn't get past. One of them I've done now, and then I'm just about to try and have another go at the second one, because I streamed this a bit on Sunday, and I was fighting it's like the first major boss I was fighting in that, and I still can't beat him at the moment. And so I went back to another area and unlocked like a whole other place, and went there.
So James, you said before the podcast you were stuck on 2 bosses. And now you've done one. Are you playing during the podcast?
Yeah. No. Okay. I mean, when I got home from work. Not right now. It's
because you've done a boss, so you stop playing now.
No, I'm not playing it now, Matt. It's
Okay.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, we know you have done that, so.
That's all right. I mean, we can listen to the recording and hear all the buttons clicking.
Or the tippy tapping and like
the. No, yeah, I would be significantly more sort of red-faced and angry if I was doing that. But yeah, I got rid of one of those. But it's just, I mean, I'm finding the exploration in this also a lot more enjoyable than I did. I mean, than in like when I played Dark Souls. I mean, Dark Souls had an amazing, fantastic map, but it's just the fact that you can move significantly faster in this, and you could interact with the scenery like in much more effective ways with like the grappling hook and everything.
Yeah.
So you get this it's this really nice feeling of like like going to an area and then use your grappling hook to like get to a higher level and just keep going as high as you can, so then you can like look down and see where all like the guards are patrolling and that kind of thing, and then try and figure out where you're going to hit, to sort of to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't understand fully all of the systems that there are and the way the game entirely works, because I don't know, I haven't learned everything yet. But so far, I really am very much enjoying it. I mean, I had this weird. I also forgot though how you don't usually get things that help you in these sorts of games that much, and like because you can't summon in this either. There's like no summoning, and I mean, it doesn't really bother me because I never use summoning anyway. But it's. It's still a bit annoying because some of the bosses are like quite difficult. But I had this incident with I'm going to spoil this because it's right at the beginning. There's like this battle with like an ogre that you have to fight, and it's. I was stupidly, because the other thing you can do is you can like sneak up on soldiers and then eavesdrop on them and like hear them talking.
Right.
And so I sneaked up on these two soldiers that were at a campfire, and I listened to them talking, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, we got this guy trapped, like up there, like up on the hill. I hope he doesn't get loose or whatever like that." And I stupidly, at this moment, thought, "Oh, maybe this could be an ally. Somebody who can like help me. These,
no, you didn't.
Any of my enemy, that kind of thing." And it certainly wasn't that. It was a massive ogre that
this guy sounds a bit of a right.
So I walked up there and he suddenly just lunged at me, grabbed me, and threw me off the castle, instantly dead. I was like, okay, it's not a friend.
Hey, do you want to be buddies? Oh no, you don't.
But but it is really good, and but it's just I know this is going to be a significant time commitment, to sort of to play through.
Yeah, that's what I don't need at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll play it one day. I can wait until it's a bit cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't say at the moment it's not like, for me, it's not like sort of like Game of the Year kind of material. It's very good, but it's not like revelatory at all to me so far. Mm-hmm. But the other thing that I'm not looking forward to is because I'm going away and it's going to like break up the flow of me actually being able to play it, and I'll come back and I won't be able to do anything anymore. Yeah. But I do feel like I'm learning playing it as well, which is cool because it still has that whole sort of like, you can't, you shouldn't just like rush in and you get really badly punished if you do that. You have to really consider what you're doing, and there's always that temptation to like take one more swing like with your sword, and then it goes all horribly wrong. But it's great. I mean, Matt, you've got it as well, haven't you?
I have got it, but I only got it on Monday, so it's only yesterday really. So I've barely started it. I've got the blade, and now I've met the first enemy with a health bar. I was like, I'm in that courtyard area, so I think I'm still in like the epilogue or whatever. So yeah, I'm very, very early on, but I'm super excited to play this game because obviously I played Dark Souls and I'm currently playing Bloodborne. Those are games which have been out for a while. Everyone knows all about them, and so when I stream on Sundays, I obviously get a lot of help from the chat, which is good because I need the help. But it's sort of exciting and liberating to be going through this game on my own. No help, no support, and just learning it with everyone else. And I can't wait to sort of properly delve in. I wonder if this is going to affect me playing Bloodborne. I mean, I'm hardly the world's best Bloodborne player, but I wonder if this is going to affect how I play that, or if it's a different system to learn. But no, I can't wait to get properly stuck in. It looks amazing. I love like the Japanese sort of like the Japanese voiceover. Well, it's not voiceover, but the actual Japanese like audio. I think it's just and that, and I think the graphics and the art style is fantastic. So I'm excited to delve in and explore the landscape and the world really.
Yeah, wait until you get to the first boss. Like the voice acting on that is amazing. It's really like fantastic. It's one of the best I've seen.
That boss you're streaming, is that the first boss? Is that the first?
That's the first proper one. Yeah, okay. I mean they have lots of areas have these like mini bosses as well. Like the ogre was one of those, but they also have generals as well. And you'll come across one of those like quite early on, and it's really strange because the generals are like significantly more difficult to defeat than like just regular troops, but you get like the prayer beads from them, which you can then use to upgrade your like health and like attack strength and everything. So you can avoid them if you want to, but then you're putting yourself at quite a disadvantage if you ignore them, because then later on when you come up against harder stuff, you won't have like much of a health bar and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of forcing you to have to do that. There is also quite a nice like a tutorial kind of thing where you can go back and talk with this guy who you can like practice moves with, and which is good. But the only problem is that, particularly because I'm trying to improve my parrying skill, doing it with him is not so good because he always has the same timings, whereas all the different enemies have different timings. So it's like I don't really feel like I'm learning so much from fighting him. But yeah, overall great though, and this is going to be a game I'm probably going to talk about quite a lot in the future. But yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to play more. So this doesn't interest you, Sean? Obviously, you love Dark Souls, but is it like the stress and like the time commitment to a game like this?
Yeah, basically, and it's not the game's fault. Like, I think if Dark Souls came out now, I'd probably maybe feel the same. It's just the time commitment, and people being like, "Oh, it took me 6 hours to do one boss. It was great." And I'm like, no, that does not.
Yeah, see, that put me off as well when I heard you say that, and I was like, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
yeah, but these sorts of games, it's how it makes you feel when you get it done. It's like there's a reward. The rewarding feeling is like no other game I've played really. When you get a boss done or a tough area done in these sorts of games.
Yeah, no, I will inevitably cave at some point and end up getting it, but I'll just wait till it's dropped in price a little bit, I think.
Yeah, good game.
Yeah.
What else? Is that it, James?
That's it. I've got nothing else. Yeah, this week. That's it.
Cool. Well, I'll whiz through mine. I finished Resident Evil 2. I finished Better Claire's B campaign, so that is me officially done. Resident Evil 2 is off my plate.
Nice.
I still got a C grade for my B playthrough. I was totally bombing through. I had like notes because I watched walkthroughs. I was trying to speedrun it. Still got a C grade, but it doesn't matter. I thought Claire's campaign was actually probably better than Leon's.
Really?
Out of the two, I thought it was really interesting. But either way, that's done. I'm quite thankful. I think overall it is an excellent game, but it's just too much for me. I mean, on Wednesdays I was feeling a bit anxious and like nervous in the lead up to the stream. I don't need that in my life. It's an excellent game, but no, it's too much for me. Still playing Bloodborne obviously every Sunday. I was stuck on Sunday. I was streaming and I was struggling against the Shadow of Yharnam boss.
Yeah.
So I then went off, as Futo Exercise suggested, I went off to one of those dungeons.
Mm-hmm. The Chalice Dungeons.
Chalice Dungeons, yeah. and I did a couple of levels of one, but I'm going to play some more in the week and just do some Chalice Dungeons. It doesn't need to be on stream, but I'm going to do some of that stuff so I can like get loads of vials and level up. And Bloodborne still continues to be effing excellent, frankly.
Cool.
I'm loving it. Even when I'm struggling, I'm loving it, but I'm also quite excited to get stuck into Sekiro. The other game I played, is Tacoma. Now, Tacoma. When does the game come out? 2017. Also,
could be. Yeah,
this game was free on Humble Bundle on Humble Bundle's website this weekend, or over the last few days. It's too late now if you listen to this. It's way too late. But back into last week and over the weekend, if you basically signed up to Humble Bundle's newsletter, of which I was always a subscriber, you got free versions to download of Tacoma. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Like, obviously, I played Gone Home, and that was quite late after the game came out, but I played it. I think, obviously, someone suggested it, and I was like, I'll play it. Maybe I was also put off because maybe I thought that was a scary game. Anyway, I eventually played it much too late, and I thought it was excellent. I really enjoyed it. This, obviously, at that point, Tacoma was already a thing. It wasn't out at that point, but we knew it was coming. And I remember Steve Gaynor showing us off at the Xbox conference at E3 one year. I guess it was 2016 or 15. And I was like, oh, cool, Tacoma from the Fulbright company, Gone Home devs, excited for that. And then I think it came out, and I don't remember, it didn't blow up, obviously, in the way that Gone Home did. And
yeah, which is really strange.
Yeah, and like I'm sure people in some calls are talking about it, but it basically came and it went, and I didn't really think anything of it. But I saw this was free to download. I wanted something to play for the pod, and oh god, I absolutely loved it. You haven't finished, have you, Sean?
I've played like literally like 20 minutes of it and was like, yeah, cool, I'll carry on with that, and then never did. So it's one that I got cheap in a Steam sale, and then I'm pretty sure it's been in like bundles and stuff since then. And then it's also in, yes, I was saying with the Humble Monthly deal, there's there's an archive of stuff you can like always download no matter when you sign up, and it's in there as well. So like, it mustn't have sold at all.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Gone Home was like an indie phenomenon. I guess. I mean,
it was, yeah.
So it wasn't really going to link. I guess it is always a tough thing to follow that. But it did feel like the conversation sort of fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've got this, and I absolutely loved it. So you play. It's set on this space station called the Tacoma. And you play this person called Amy, and you're sent to the Tacoma ship, which is totally empty, to collect the AI basically to collect some information and then get off the ship. What this ship does, or what the company that basically run the ship does, is that it records. Records basically information about everyone that's been on that ship, where they've been, what they've done, and then you as Amy get to like replay those as what they call like AR memories, or basically AR displays of where people have been in certain rooms, what they've said, so on and so forth. And you're basically walking around this spaceship as if there are still people there, but all really you're seeing as these sort of holograms of people.
Right.
So you don't see their faces, you just see like these blocks of colour with like almost like sort of stick man levels of sort of like bone structure inside their bodies, but they're mostly like a green humanoid shaped blob, a blue one, a purple one. But so you see them following around. I mean, even those like simplistic humanoid shapes, they're still like they're still obviously very realistic animation and whatnot, but it's just that there's no texture. You don't see their face, you don't see their eyes, you just see these humanoid shapes. And as you go around these locations, you can basically play fast forward and rewind these conversations that you see around the ship. So you go around and you go to like a certain area, or in various different areas of the ship, you go around and it'll say like AR. I can't remember the actual word, but basically it says there's some AR footage for you to view now. You press spacebar. I was playing on PC, and then all these humanoid shapes appear, and you can basically press play, listen to conversations, and see where these sort of figures walk around in this sort of small, like 30-second to like 2-minute or 4-minute snapshot. You basically listen to these conversations. You can rewind and fast forward, as I said, but also another part of this sort of so as part of this, like this play section at the bottom of the screen where you see the audio being played, there's also these lines, and then at various points, as like the cursor of the audio you're playing will cross one of those lines, suddenly that's where you get to see that person's, I think AR desktop is what they're calling it. Right. And at that point, you basically so you see this line, and then basically it might say like suddenly the purple icon will appear. So then you go find the purple icon. Each of these colours represents a different person on the ship. There's like purple, pink, or purple, red, yellow, and red, and whatnot. So you'll see that. I think, okay, so the purple's lit up. So now I'll go find the purple person within the scene, and because that little thing's lit up, I then can go and look at their virtual desktop, or AR desktop, sorry. And that is basically where you can suddenly look at some of the text messages that they've got on within their, or on their person. You can see maybe a picture that they've got saved. You can see sort of private IM conversations between other members of the ship. You can hear like audio clips and all sorts, and that's where you get a really great insight into that person. And so you're basically trying to like listen to all these different like various memories of these conversations around the ship, all of them of which are out of order. As in like in the incorrect order. Right. So you're trying to piece together the story based on something that it might say like this happened 2 hours ago, this might have happened 2 days ago, this might have happened 18 hours ago. So you're trying to piece together the story from the conversations that you're following, but you're also piecing together how these humans are interacting with each other, what they're thinking about each other through the AR desktops, where you're looking at messages and pictures, and some people are messaging people off ship, and other people are having private messages with other people within the ship. But I thought it was just a really well told story. I mean, the game is pretty short; it's like 3.5 hours.
Okay.
So there isn't a lot of story, but I think what it did tell is really, really subtle, and I thought it had a really great ending. I've read since some people weren't too happy with the ending, and maybe I felt it was really sudden. And maybe there's much more story to tell. I believe there definitely is much more story to tell. I think they could have gone much, much bigger and grander with this thing, but I thought the ending was really, really good. I think voice acting is absolutely impeccable in this game. Like, it's utterly fantastic. You really get I think it's absolutely brilliantly voice acted. You really get a sense of who the people are, even when these humanoid shapes, which is literally blobs of color. You can really get a sense that. The voice acting, and also you see like pictures of like really well illustrated pictures of the various members of staff as well on board. Okay. And each of these stories are quite complex. Like there's like a one or maybe two like same-sex couples on the ship. There's a guy like who's like dealing with his son, and there's some really nicely written kind of complex stories within each of these each of these characters. There's a couple of couples on board. I think it's fantastic. I was really surprised because obviously Gone Home was great, but I just went into this having no real consideration about what sort of game it would even be. I saw a trailer years ago, but I thought it was utterly excellent. I thought it was brilliant. I'd recommend it if anyone's got it downloaded. I got it in a Humble Bundle, or they've just got it in a library somehow. I would definitely recommend playing this.
I might get this done this week.
This is definitely something I was interested in, and for some reason I thought I already had it because I thought they'd given it away with like Games with Gold or something like that. But then I had to look, and it seems not, which is a shame. But yeah, it's now in my wishlist stuff for if there's price drops.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at some of the reviews today, and they're all like 7s and stuff. I'll probably give it an 8 or so. I thought it was really good. But this game, something happened to me that's never ever happened to me playing a game like this ever before. And I was playing this on Saturday night, so I've got the PC version, so mouse and keyboard and all the usual stuff. And about like an hour or so into it, I suddenly started getting motion sickness.
Really?
Now, I've heard about some people getting this with like SPS games. I'm like, I play FPS games, for as long as I can remember, never had a problem. I was like, this is so weird. And I basically had to stop like early on. Like Jill was out with friends on Saturday night, so I was like, brilliant, I'll just play this game on Saturday, get this game done, and I'd stop after like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I was like, I feel sick. And basically, I went back on Sunday night, and it's like I turned down the sensitivity of the mouse, and I hadn't changed it, but I think maybe the default mouse sensitivity, it was like really all over the place, and you don't have anything in front of you. You don't have like, obviously in FPS games, normally you would have like a gun or something. You don't really see anything in front of you. There is like a very faint dot in the center of the screen, and I know VR developers use that to like minimize motion sickness, because if you have one thing on screen, that helps. But yeah, it's so weird. I mean, even before I started feeling sick, it sort of felt like a VR game without the headset. And maybe that was like actually the speed at which I can move my head and the cursor around. So maybe it's just like a mouse speed thing.
Yeah, it could be. I think it's usually the field of view that does it. Like if it's a bit wider than you're used to. Yeah, apparently that's really common with basically anything that Valve make. Apparently they have a slightly wider field of view, and that messes up a lot of people.
I didn't notice anything. Yeah. I mean, all I noticed even before I started feeling sick was the fact that I could really move the cursor around like really, really fast. But that was just I wasn't. I thought, okay, what's sensitive, and it wasn't a bother really until I started feeling a bit unwell. But it was like, oh my god, I've heard about people who feel sick with FPS games. Is this happening to me? Is that what 36 means now, that I started feeling sick, get motion sickness? But I changed it down, and I was fine on Sunday night. So maybe it's just a speed thing, but I shouldn't have done that speed. I think it's an excellent game. If you're listening and you've maybe heard of it, or you weren't bothered, but you got it downloaded, or maybe you see it cheap, I thought it was brilliant. I'm still thinking about it today. I just thought, it's a short game, 3 hours, but they could do more. I love the environment. Mm-hmm. I'm still thinking about some of the characters in it. There's there's also on board this AI called Odin, and the medic lady. I think her name is Sarah. She suffers from anxiety, and she talks to Odin, the AI, loads about about how she's feeling, and he's sort of helping, or it's helping her sort of get over or deal with her anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way that these characters could be having these really, really well told conversations with each other, and then the scene carries on with like the characters dispersing, and then suddenly a door shuts, and that character's like talking to Odin or talking to himself, saying, "Oh God, I can't. What do I do? What's happening? Why did I say that? Why is this happening?" Voice acting is absolutely brilliant. I thought it's so well done, and I heartily recommend this game. Yeah, it's a total surprise.
Right? That's cool. It's a shame, isn't it, that it seems it kind of went under the radar a bit. But
yeah, I guess in other circles it probably didn't, but just for me, knew about Gone Home, saw it announced the Xbox thing, and then just like nothing. And I knew Fulbright had the second game out. I knew it was this, but it just never really came on my radar. And sadly, I guess it took the fact it was a free download for me to play it. But I thought I loved it. I mean, I don't know what Fulbright are doing next in terms of games. I went on their website today, and it's the most basic one page ever. There's no real information about what they're doing next. But
it's. I mean, it's. I know I've said this before, but it is such a good feeling when a game doesn't take many hours out of you, but then you carry it with you for a little bit. And it's like it's built a nest in your head, and it's just sort of, I really like that. So no, I'll see if I can get this done. Maybe not for next week, but definitely something I want to make the effort to play, because
I think you'd both really, really like it. Actually, I think it's an excellent game.
Cool.
Good. That's all I played. I've got RE2 done. I've got Tacoma done, and now I've got Sekiro to properly get involved in. But that's it for me this week.
Cool. Right, not so much on the questions front, so this might actually still be a relatively short one.
There's still time for it to be another 19 minutes on top of this, but we'll see.
Yeah.
No,
James.
Okay.
All right, James, you'll do the emails. Well, email.
Yeah, okay,
singular.
so if you want to email us, it's podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Luke Askew has done so, and he says, was just wondering if James had finished all the Zero Escape games, and if so, what he thought of them all. The trilogy's director has just announced his latest game, and it looks very much like a spiritual successor to that trilogy. Keen to your thoughts on Matt's attempt to pronounce some of these words. But he's not, I am.
No. Plus you ducked half of them anyway.
I know.
You didn't read the guy's name? Fucking hell.
Love the pod guys and all the streams. Soma could be a shout out for Matt. There's even a non-scary mode for when it all gets a bit much.
See, I'd considered streaming Soma. We're in the non-scary mode, obviously, but yeah.
So the game before Soma, was that Amnesia?
Oh no, I don't know if they're related. Amnesia.
I think it was. But
okay, because there was Amnesia, and then there was Amnesia, A Machine for Pigs,
which
is the sequel.
I remember watching the streams of Amnesia, and that looked ridiculously scary, and you get basically changed by unknown beings. Soma, that's the underwater thing, isn't it?
Do you know? I know almost nothing about it.
I think Soma. I think you're on like a submarine or something similar. I think there's an underwater element.
I've been told I would really like it, especially now they added the sort of non-hostile mode.
But I don't know if I could honestly played the non-scary mode. It's like, I don't know.
Well, everyone's like, it's cool that they added it though, just because it's like, because so much of the feedback was like, the story in this is fascinating. It's a shame that a lot of people won't play it because it's scary, and I was one of them. So, it's nice that the developers put that in, I think. But I know what you mean. It's like the sensation that maybe you're not really getting the full experience, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's officially called safe mode. I was like, okay. You might as well just say you're not fit to play games if I go through and play safe mode. Who knows?
Sorry, James, do you want to actually answer the question?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so in terms of the Zero Escape games, I have them. I downloaded them the other week, actually, but I still haven't played them.
Okay.
The trouble is, I've got them on PS4,
right?
And it feels like I'd much rather be playing them on a handheld.
I can see that.
Because they look not great either, like blown up on a massive TV.
Yeah. Are they not on Vita or anything?
I think they're on Vita. I mean,
do you own? You might own them on both, right?
It may be, yeah. So I may play it. Yeah, maybe when I go away, maybe I'll take it with me and play them because that would be something nice to do. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be doing that.
Cool.
And that's it. No more emails.
All right,
Matt, tweets.
God, we really
Come
are
bang
waiting
through
for it.
these, Matt,
Okay,
come
if
on.
you want to tweet us, it's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. Athene Allen steps up. In light of Cadence of Hyrule, which indie dev would you like to take on a Nintendo project, and what would they make?
Ooh. Someone needs to make an F-Zero. Who can make an F-Zero?
Well, Sumo is the obvious one there.
Sumo, yeah, because they did a fine job of the Sonic ones. Or certainly the second one.
Are
Was
they
it?
an indie dev?
Well, no,
Sumo?
they're not anymore, I guess.
Maybe, technically. I don't know. I think they have individual contracts with publishers, but I think they are technically independent. What else? Have we got nothing? Is that it?
We've got
No,
nothing.
I'm just
yeah.
trying to think. I'm trying to think what Fulbright could make. I want Fulbright to make a Mario game. I mean, one of the things I didn't mention is that also when you're going for a spaceship, you can pick up like everything. There's food tins, there's bits of paper, there's like deodorant cans, there's tons of things you have to pick up and to rotate to look in like really, really well rendered detail. It would be crazy to have like a Mario game where you just pick up all the things, you hear like messages and like, learn about what Mario really thinks about Peach and what Toad's really messaging Bowser off planet. I want Mario Tacoma made by Fulbright, please. That would be amazing.
I've got it. I want Team Cherry to do an actual Metroid game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could just imagine that being amazing.
That'd be fucking awesome.
So Team Cherry, they
yeah.
make Hollow Knight, yeah?
Yeah.
Again, it's a bit of an obvious one. If Heart Machine, who made Hyper Light Drifter, got to do an actual Zelda game as well, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, I know so running with the theme of devs doing the actual franchise that they've obviously been influenced by. But I think that is like a really interesting idea, yeah.
Are Platinum Games an indie developer?
Yeah.
Well,
sort of.
them doing Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I'd be up for that.
And that's what I want.
The other joke answer is, imagine if they did Zelda who's Dynasty Warriors. Of course, that's real and very good.
Imagine.
Yeah. I think that's all we've got for that one.
Yeah, I'll be all over them. Anyway, Kieran at KWint93 on Twitter. When are we going to see the glorious return of the Hutch as part of the TCGS network? Now, I saw this tweet and I was like, guys, what is this? Question mark.
So when I used to do Midnight Resistance, there was a running joke that I was going to do a podcast about rabbits because I had 2 rabbits and it was going to be called The Hutch. They're both dead now, so probably not going to happen because I wouldn't have a lot to say about rabbits anymore. It'd just be me reminiscing about my old pets. I'd probably only get 1 episode out of it, and that'd be it.
How many old pets have you had?
How many pets have I had? What? Like since I moved out from my parents?
Or just ever? Have you had like a whole suite of them?
We always had like family dogs growing up. So when I was living with my folks, I think we went through 3 dogs. And then, so now I've got my own dog, Mara, who obviously you hear on these recordings most weeks because she's fucking noisy. And then we had the rabbits as well. I also had fish as a child. Do you ever get that thing where you really want fish as a kid and then you realise they're really boring?
Yeah, you can't cuddle or anything, can you?
No, you can't do shit with the fish. No, fucking rubbish. Rabbits are fine. You don't always get a lot out of them. They don't do much, bless them. And half the time they won't even let you touch them. They just run away because you're a disgusting human. I think that's it for me and pets. What about you guys?
I've always had cats.
Is that what you've had?
It does not surprise me. You strike me as a cat person. You can see that.
Yeah, I like cats. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Really? Cats. He doesn't strike me as a cat person at all.
No? Really?
I just see you with like a big Labrador and it's like, man's best friend. And not those like cats who do what they want and they like, run off for days. I mean, I haven't got a cat. I don't know what
emotionally unavailable. Cold.
Oh, actually, good point. Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah,
that's why I like them. It's yeah.
About you, Matt?
I mean, my parents had a dog and it died, and they were too car to have another one, which is really sad. But
that like almost happened to us when we lost our first dog. I was only about 4 or 5 when he died. His name was Bodger, and he was a massive idiot staffy, and Yeah, when he went, Dad was just like, nah, not doing this
Yeah,
again. This is too horrible.
My parents had a Yorkshire Terrier and and a little white one called Tweedle, and they absolutely loved it. And when he died, it was just too upsetting for my parents, which is really sad. But I was only 4 or 5 when, or maybe actually 2 or 3 when that happened. So I didn't really remember much of him. But
it was it was a really weird moment. Like when Isaac started getting a bit older, and I say getting a bit older, he's still only like 17 months. But when he got to the point where he was like obviously like interacting with Mara and like enjoying it, and I was like, oh fuck, they're going to be best friends. Ah fuck, and then she's going to die. And he's going to be like 9 or 10 when it happens, and he's going to fully remember it, and it's going to be horrible because she'll have always been there as far as he can remember. And then that's it's good, that, isn't it, knowing you've like planted little time bombs for your kids.
So how old is Mara?
What is she now? She's like 2 or 3 now.
And how long do dogs of that breed live for?
It depends. Staffies, they often get like joint problems and stuff, but they're mostly pretty healthy. They're usually sort of anywhere between 8 or 10 is pretty standard, I think.
Yeah. It's just so sad when pets sad when pets die. Like,
It's worse than when family members die, I think. Like I was definitely more upset over losing dogs than like grandparents.
Yeah.
Then maybe that says more about my grandparents than my dogs or me. Right, anyway, sorry, that went a bit somber. Have we got any more questions?
Anyway, we've got another actually. So this is actually a tweet from Dan. After Tetris 99 being a thing, what would be the next series you would want to do for Battle Royale? I would personally really want a Battle Royale based on Breath of the Wild. It already has all the key assets to make a decent BR game.
Oh, fuck, it does as well.
Yeah, it really does. That's a great tweet. It's like, that could be like you've like flying away, like especially with all this stuff with
everyone just gliding in to start with.
Yeah,
just
building up energy, shooting yourself across the map to if when a circle, gets smaller.
Crafting, it's got
breakable weapons. Just as you're attacking someone, it breaks.
Yeah, Dan, you're absolute genius. Someone should make
awesome.
that. Someone needs to mod that. I don't know. Just make a Breath of the Wild Battle Royale. That sounds brilliant.
Yep, that would be awesome.
I don't know if we're going to beat that.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm basically stealing Matt's joke, but Animal Crossing Battle Royale.
Animal Crossing BR,
yeah, just everyone going at each other with axes. Why not?
But could you change that? Actually, it's like you've got to get like a banging fish, and then I don't know. There could be like There could be those like one-on-ones, and it's like, okay, now we both have to catch a fish. Best fish, okay, I've got a good fish, you've got a shit one, you're dead. They could,
but it's a 100-man knockout competition.
Yeah.
Fishing tournament.
Knockout fishing, yeah.
I don't know if that works.
It doesn't.
No. Right, we got anything else?
100-player Smash Bros. Would.
Oh yeah, just all on screen at once.
Yeah,
I'd watch that.
That's surely got to be coming, isn't it? That's the kind of
surely
thing.
Surely that is technically impossible.
I'm sure they'll figure something out.
How would you possibly do that, Jack? How do you see your character?
I'm sure you'd have to just break it down into like smaller matches, and then they sort of like it's just like a winner stays on thing.
Oh, again, that would work. And again, like just like Tetris 99, you'll see like maybe.
So you're just describing a tournament.
It's all happening at the same time. And maybe you can see like color coded things around off screen, or just like you can on Tetris 99. That also sounds good.
It's brilliant. We can have like two people fighting each other, and then the winner fights another person.
But we start with 100 people.
Clever minds will get it fixed, get it built. Get end with Athena Allen. Why is Matt such a corporate bootlicker? See the Stadia podcast. That tweet made me laugh. Corporate bootlicker.
You're going to answer it?
I'm not a corporate bootlicker. I was like, you mentioned this on the Sony one, James. Oh, Matt loves Stadia. I'm excited for the future. What's wrong with that?
I don't think it's necessarily a corporate thing. I think you just, as we've said, you just like new things.
I just love new things.
New things tend to be made by companies.
Yeah, companies make things. I like things, and there you
go. So,
I'm a corporate bootlicker. Oh, I love that.
Right, is that us?
That's it.
I'm really glad that even though we only had about 3 questions, we had shite answers for all of them.
Yeah, we are the worst.
But hey-ho.
We're the worst.
And it's not even been a long show. I can't blame it on being tired. I'll probably be up for another hour after this. doing whatever I want. I've got no excuse. Thanks for listening, everyone. I've had a nice time. I hope you guys have as well. Sorry, after we did, after the whole, we don't need to do another housekeeping thing at the end, I'm flailing. I'm lost.
You've got all this time now, Sean. You can do whatever you want.
I know, and I don't know what to do.
Listens, technically, it's this part of the end.
Just do your catchphrase and just let's get it out.
Thank you,
James. It's 22:22. You've always said if we finish.
Stop trying to prolong this, man.
James. If I'll believe it when I'll see it when we end at 10:30. We've got 8 minutes. We can chat the shit.
I know what your game is. You just keep trying to prolong things.
We can do whatever we want now.
Just like, we're getting close to the end. Sean, tell me all about your pets.
Sean, tell me about your life, Sean. Let's start at the beginning. That's all I'm going to do.
You ever get that where sometimes someone asks you a question, then halfway through the answer, you're like, why am I answering this?
I mean,
in
only every
detail.
single day. But...
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Let's keep it going, Sean.
I don't want to keep.
What did everyone do today? No, okay.
Thank you for letting us podcast in the nude. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.